Hearing this, Yi Chungjun looked at Yi Mo with a face full of shock. He finally understood why Yi Mo placed first. Yi Chungjun accepted his loss. Although he had also made pills, 3 of them at that, they were nothing compared to the spirit-weaving pill. He had at most made some changes to another existing recipe. The spirit-weaving pill meant countless wealth and more safety for a cultivator. Due to this, Yi Mo would be number 1 even if he didn't participate in the 3rd round. Countless people looked at Yi Mo with fiery eyes. There wasn't a person around who didn't want to get on Yi Mo's good side now. At the spectator area, the herb pill sex people were completely dumbfounded. They never would have thought that a random pill master they found would help their sect get first place. But then, they also immediately thought of how much pandemonium the spirit-weaving pill would create. As long as Yi Mo just gave a little spirit-weaving pill to their sect to sell, their sect would rise into the sky. Their other pills would sell well too. Uncle Zhao was very excited, but he knew what Mu Yiqing would be thinking. He coughed and said, "Sect leader, such a high profile might not be a good thing, I think." Mu Yiqing calmed down. He knew what Uncle Zhao meant, of course. "I know, but our herb pill sect was on the brink of its end anyway. If we don't create some sensation now, I don't think there will be any more purpose to our existence. Since the opportunity is here, I have to grasp it even if there's a hefty price to pay." Uncle Zhao nodded and didn't say anything. He knew Mu Yiqing was right. Sometimes, being too timid would only lead a sect slowly towards destruction. Meanwhile, the Immortal Treasure Tower's big manager's face was so bleak right now that it felt like water could come out. He stared coldly at Feng Jiqing and said, "This is the pill master you said is just SOSO? Ranked number 1, and he created a pill like the spirit-weaving pill." Feng Jiqing didn't dare to reply anything at all. He was also shocked that Yi Mo was able to create the spirit-weaving pill recipe and even make it. Even if Yi Mo hadn't gotten a top 10 spot, just the spirit-weaving pill alone could have allowed the Immortal Treasure Tower's fame to extend throughout the entire North Far State. If Yi Mo had represented the Immortal Treasure Tower to participate in the tournament, then they would be the ones benefiting the most, yet he had pushed away such an opportunity. There was no way the manager wouldn't be angry. "Big manager, I don't think there's no opportunity left. Yanzhang is close to Yi Mo, and Yi Mo is helping the River State Immortal Treasure Tower. I think we should let Yanzhang talk to Yi Mo after the tournament and let him come back to us." Yanzhang used 10.000 SQM of land to get Yi Mo's help before. Now we can give him even better things, and there's no way he wouldn't agree. Big manager's face stayed bleak, but he still looked towards Yanzhang. Yanzhang knew he had to talk now. He was sneering inside, but he still bowed and said, "Big manager, Yi Mo's character is strong-willed. Although he values relationships, he is very keen on remembering goodwill and bad will. If we had always been nice to him and let him represent us, I think he wouldn't be able to reject our invitation, and he would even let the spirit-weaving pill be our unique pill, but since we already rejected him, I think it would be very hard to succeed even if I managed to talk to him." The big manager sneered and said, "No matter what, you must succeed. We cannot let him work with other pill towers. He has to be ours." Then he looked coldly at Yanjun. Yanjun knew what the big manager meant and said helplessly, "Xiao Zhang, try harder. Aren't you close to that Yi Mo? Try to satisfy whatever needs he might have. If you succeed, the Immortal Treasure Tower won't disappoint you," the big manager added. Yanzhang was feeling contemptuous, but he didn't dare to show it and could only nod in agreement. The craze finally ended and everyone calmed down. Some powers were already thinking about how to establish relations with Yi Mo and get the sales talks going for the spirit-weaving pill. Kong Yi looked at the crowd and continued, "I've already tested the spirit-weaving pill, and it really does have an immeasurable potency for spirit sense recovery." Some cultivators yelled, "Pill Master Yi was able to create the spirit-weaving pill. I don't think a 3rd round is necessary. Why don't we just give him the number 1 spot in the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame?" "Yeah, we should." Multiple people voiced their agreement. Kong Yi saw this and nodded happily. He was very happy that the people were able to realize how important the spirit-weaving pill was. "In that case, I hereby announce that the Hall of Fame will be ranked according to the 2nd round. The second round itself is already very convincing. Furthermore, the herb valley that was scheduled to open in a month will now be opened up early, Kongyi said. It was not just pill masters who could go to the desert plain herb valley. Kongyi knew everyone was very anxious and immediately waved his hand. But don't be hasty, everyone. Although it will open early, there will still be 4 days before you can go in. In 3 days, Broken Leaf City will open up the portal to the herb valley. I wish everyone luck. Now I would like to invite City Lord Fong of Broken Leaf City to give out the awards for the Hall of Fame, as well as the herb valley spots and my jade card for a one-time pill concoction from me. A round of heated applause ensued. Everyone was pretty happy with the results. Yi Chungjun knew that if the tournament went to the third round, he would be number 1 for sure. But since Kongyi already said this much and he had been first in 3 consecutive times already, he didn't really mind. He felt that Yi deserved getting in first once for making the spirit-weaving pill. Little did he know that if Yi used his Shinong Cauldron and Mist Lotus Heartfire, he would be able to concoct even heaven-grade level 3 pills. Kongyi Qianbei as one of the judges. Elder Yu heard this, he came out in shock. He knew that the herb valley would be opening up early, but the third round would only take half a day. It wouldn't affect going to the herb valley. But before he could finish, Kongyi waved his hand and said, "That will be all." Then he looked at Emo and said, "Emo, I am always at the Pill Association's HQ. If you have time, you can always come find me." Countless people looked at Emo in admiration. Clearly Kongyi treated Emo very differently. Emo said respectfully, "Thank you, Kongyi Qianbei. Wanbei will most certainly come visit Qianbei." He could feel that Kongyi seemed to have nothing but goodwill towards him. As the number 1 of the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame, Emo not only got the number 1 badge and 3 spots to go into the Herb Valley, he also got a jade card that could request Kongyi Qianbei to concoct a pill for him once. As soon as the award ceremony was over, Emo was immediately surrounded with all sorts of people. "Brother Yi, I'm Heaven Forge Towers Chotong. I want to invite you Pill Master Yi. I'm North Far Merchant Association's Li Yupu. May I have the honor of inviting you Yi Qianbei." These people surrounded Emo. All of them wanted to invite Emo or connect with him. Emo knew this was more due to the spirit-weaving pill than having been chosen as the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame's number 1. "Everyone, due to the last rounds, I'm very tired. I need to rest, sorry." Emo saluted with his fist those who stopped him. "Ha ha ha. Brother Yi, I knew you were no ordinary person. You're not someone those dimwits can compare with." Zhuang Man squeezed through the crowd and patted Yemo's shoulder hospitably. Then he glared at Wan Guoping. Wan Guoping sneered and left. Yemo saw this and sneered too. Zhuang Man looked coarse, but he had helped him. However, Yemo could tell this guy was using him to strike Wan Guoping. He had not only done that, but he had also made Wan Guoping gain an extra enemy, Yemo himself. Perhaps in Zhuang Man's heart, he should be thanking him for helping him. He had really planned this out well. Yemo smiled. Brother Zhuang did not end up poorly either. Number 5th in the Hall of Fame. If I hadn't happened to be lucky, I wouldn't have ranked as highly as Brother Zhuang. As soon as Wan Guoping turned around, he saw Yi Chenju. His eyes spun and he immediately saluted him with his fists. "Brother Chen, you were really unlucky this time. If Kongyi Qianbei hadn't cancelled the third round, I think you would have still been the first this time." "That's right. If there were to be a third round, it should be that the contestants concocted the best pill they can possibly make. I've never heard of anyone concoct a heaven-level pill with chi fire. Brother Chun is someone who can make heaven-grade pills," another cultivator said. Emo studied the cultivator. He identified the cultivator as Shi Chi, God Sword Sex Pill Master. He had gotten 17.4 points and had ranked 3rd. Emo was confused. He hadn't offended this guy. Why was he targeting him? He, just because you haven't seen it, doesn't mean it can't be made. I can only say your horizons are narrow. I've seen heaven-grade pills made with chi fire. Someone retaliated, clearly helping Emo. Emo checked out this pill master. It was Ghost Immortal Sex Wenren Fu. He had ranked 6th this time. Emo realized that these people had their own conflicts. They were just using someone else to attack each other. Emo sneered, but he didn't answer. Yi walked up to Emo nicely and saluted him with his fists. Pill Master Yi created the spirit-weaving pill. Just by that you deserve the first place on Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. I admit my defeat. I'm Yi Qinju if you have time. Then I wish to visit you, Pill Master Yi. Emo had a good impression of Yi Qinju. He was not young, but his face was genuine and he didn't seem to look down on him at all. Emo immediately saluted him with his fist. Okay, in that case, I'll be waiting for Brother Chen's honored arrival. Everyone, see you later. Then, Emo looked at Wan Guoping and said, Sorry, I'm fully in the Hall of Fame now. Then he turned and left. He didn't want to be involved in these conflicts. The crowd couldn't imagine that only Yi Qinjun had succeeded in inviting Emo. However then, they remembered Yi Qinju was a pill king who had ranked second. Hence, they immediately turned to him. Helplessly, he replied a few questions and squeezed out of the crowd. When Emo went outside, he found that Mu Yiqing and the others were already gone. They were probably back in the hotel, so he went there straight away. Martial Brother Yi, you're back. Mu Yiqing saw Emo come back and immediately greeted him. Mu He and Lu Ming looked at Emo with admiration. They came from a small sect, so they rarely even got to see the tournament, much less the number one on the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. Let's go inside and talk. Emo only needed one of the 3 spots into the Herbal Valley. He was planning on giving the remaining 2 to Mu Yiqing. As for the jade card for asking Kong Yi to concoct pills, Emo knew that it was pointless to give it to Mu Yiqing with his current power. If he needed pills, he might as well make them for him. He was planning on giving the jade card to Yanzhang to pay back his help. Mu Yiqing smiled bitterly. Brother Yi, that might not be possible. There are some people looking around for you. They're waiting for you in the guest room. Emo was dazed. He had just came back, yet these people had gotten there before him. Judging by Mu Yiqing's face, none of these people were someone he could offend, so he had to be very careful. He patted Mu Ying's shoulder and said, Brother Mu, go rest first. I will talk with you after I see these people. Before Emo could go into the guest room himself, the hotel manager came to pick up Emo. He was smiling so much. Clearly, many significant people had gone there and made his hotel rise in fame. He quickly bowed to Emo. Pill Master Yi, I'll take you to the guest room. Emo followed the manager there and found that there were 4 people. He knew Yanzhang, but not the other 2 men and the woman. All 4 of them got up when Emo walked inside. Yanzhang walked up to Emo and said, Brother Yi, let me introduce. He pointed at the bald man and said, This is Pill Association's Wu Wuxia, Manager Wu. Seeing Emo salute him with his fists, the man did the same. Pill Master Yi is young yet capable. You are indeed a dragon amongst men. Yanzhang then pointed at the green-dressed pretty young woman and the middle-aged man next to her. This is Pill Grind Hall's vice leader Chu Mianqinbei, and the other is All Pill Tower's elder Hong Xian. Emo greeted the 2 of them. Hearing the words All Pill Tower, Emo looked at Yanzhang in shock. Did he not know of their conflicts? Yanzhang knew what Emo was thinking and immediately said, Manager Hong Xian is only responsible for the All Pill Tower's HQ. He doesn't care about minor things. Seeing Hong Xian look at Yanzhang in shock, Emo immediately realized that Yanzhang meant to say that Hong Xian probably didn't even know about their problems. I'm grateful that you could all come here. Please have a seat, Emo said. When everyone sat down, Emo sent off the waiter and smiled. I believe everyone is very busy. It's my honor that you were able to make time to come here. Emo just wanted to say, hurry up and get this over with. If you want the spirit-weaving pill, then please go. However, Emo knew he couldn't say it out loud that straightforwardly. Any of the power figures present could easily annihilate him. Although he felt harassed, he still had to answer their requests. Wu Wuxia heard this and immediately nodded. Pill Master Ye's future is very promising. Emo was speechless. Wu Wuxia then said, Actually, I'm representing the Pill Association to discuss something with Pill Master Yi. Please say it, Manager Wu, Emo said. The other people seemed to be held back by Wu Wuxia's identity and therefore, They just smiled on the side and didn't talk. Wu Wucai coughed and said, Pill Master Yi created the spirit-weaving pill. It's indeed huge good news for us cultivators. Even Kong Yichenbei praised it greatly. Emo sneered. They had come for the spirit-weaving pill indeed. However, he still smiled at Wu Wucai. I was wondering if Pill Master Yi could give the recipe to the Pill Association in order to benefit a larger number of cultivators. No matter where on Luo Yu continent, if someone created a pill recipe, then the recipe belonged to that person. If someone else wanted to use it, they needed the consent of the creator or it would be considered stealing. It wasn't something that happened frequently, however. Almost 99% of the pill recipes belonged to everyone. It was very rare that a pill recipe belonged to one specific individual. Yet, Yemo's spirit-weaving pill was different. He had created it during the tournament and everyone knew it belonged to him. Wu Wucai had come personally to get Yemo's consent. After all, a big organization like theirs needed their face. Everyone felt it was a normal request coming from Wu Wucai. The pill recipe had already been made public. Wu Wucai had come, which meant that the Pill Association would give Yemo some compensation. Still, it just depended on how much Yemo wanted. Yemo was contemptuous. The Pill Association had just sent a golden core state manager, just to casually take his recipe. Even if he wanted some compensation, it would at most be a few spirit stones. It also showed that he wasn't very important to the Pill Association, despite having gotten the first spot on the Hall of Fame. Yemo smiled and saluted with his fist. However, he said, Manager Wu, the recipe I created out of luck isn't for my personal gain. Hence, I won't just be giving this pill recipe to the Pill Association. Everyone was dazed. Was Yemo dumb? They were just asking to be polite. Did he think that other people couldn't make the pill? Yanzhang quickly made a sign Yemo. He was really worried for Yemo. No matter how good his pill recipe was, it wasn't smart to offend the Pill Association for it. Wu Wucai heard this and his expression sunk. If Pill Master Yi gives us the spirit-weaving pill, I believe it'll easy for you to become an elder too. Of course, if you're not willing, the Pill Association won't force you. Yemo sneered. He didn't care about becoming an elder. Chu Meiyan smiled and broke the awkward atmosphere. I believe Manager Wu misheard Pill Master Ye's words. He said he won't just be giving it just to the Pill Association. I believe he has more to say. Everyone realized it too. Yemo had indeed said that. Yemo saw everyone look at him in confusion. So he got up and saluted with his fist. As a cultivator, it's my honor that I can help everyone. Although I created the spirit-weaving pill, I might not even be able to concoct another batch. Just as Manager Wu said, the spirit-weaving pill is good news for the wide community of cultivators. Hence, I've decided to give the recipe to everyone. Anyone can make it. Yemo then looked at Wu Wucai. Manager Wu, since everyone can use it, the Pill Association can use it too. Yemo's words shook everyone. Wu Wucai was representing the Pill Association to give Yemo some compensation. However, he hadn't expected that Yemo wouldn't want it and he just give it away to everyone for free. Chu Meiyan and Hong Xian immediately rejoiced. If Yemo hadn't given them the right to do so, then they could have only made it in secret. Yet now they could openly concoct it to earn money. Wu Wucai was dazed. In that case, the Pill Association wouldn't get any advantages. Everyone could sell it, so the Pill Association wouldn't be able to use it to earn profit. Realizing this, Wu Wucai quickly said, Pill Master Yi, the recipe is the result of your hard work. How can you give it to everyone so casually? Yemo looked at Wu Wucai cluelessly and said after a while, Manager Wu just said that the appearance of the spirit-weaving pill is good news for the entire community of cultivators. The Pill Association's purpose is also to benefit a greater number of cultivators. I deeply resonate with this and thus, I'm very happy because I'm a pill master that's useful to people now. Wu Wucai opened his mouth speechlessly, but he couldn't say anything. What could he say? You should only sell it to the Pill Association and get spirit stones for it? Don't let other people make it for free. Yemo wasn't that dumb. He wasn't that noble neither. He knew that only he could make the spirit-weaving pill, so what if other people got the pill recipe? If he actually sold it to the pill association and they didn't manage to concoct the pill, they would go look him again. He might as well be more generous. Give it to everyone and let Wuxia bite the dust. The spirit-weaving pill wasn't perfect in Yimo's heart. He planned to swap some ingredients when he had time. After a long while, Chu Mian saluted with her fist and said, "Pill Master Yi is magnanimous. You just gave this money-making machine away." Yimo waved his hand. "Ha ha ha. The recipe isn't complete. I might not even be able to make the second cauldron. Perhaps someone else might perfect it for me." Chu Mian smiled. "I came here for the same reason as Manager Wu. Yet since Pill Master Yi said this, I'll come to visit Pill Master Yi in the future. I came here for the same reason. Please don't forget about the all-pill tower." Hong Xian got up too. Wuxia could only get up and also say goodbye. "Brother Yi." Seeing the three men go, Yanzheng got up with a face full of guilt. Yimo knew what Yanzheng was thinking and waved his hand. "If Brother Yan still considers me a friend, then you must know that I won't join the Immortal Treasure Tower no matter what. But thank you for all your help. This jade card for Kong Yi Qianbei is yours." Yanzheng looked at the jade card in a daze. He was shook that Yimo gave such a precious thing to him. Seeing Yanzheng in a daze, Yimo could only say, "Brother Yan, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to rest. I'm planning on going to see Kong Yi Qianbei later." Yanzheng reacted and bowed to Yimo. "In that case, I'll take this jade card. To be honest, I came here because the big manager wants me to persuade you to join us. But that's not what I want to say. Our tower is not a good destination for Brother Yi. The big manager seems like an emotional person, and he's very dangerous. If it weren't for him, I would have persuaded my uncle to leave the tower already. I will tell the big manager that you have rejected the offer, but you must be careful. Big manager won't let you go like this, so you need to be prepared. I'm sorry I didn't help you much, even though you were giving me this. I'll be leaving now. Take care, Brother Yi." Yemo heard this and felt touched. He knew Yanzheng was a good guy, but he didn't expect him to tell him the truth and take the risk of offending the big manager. However, Yanzheng's words still made him alert. Without power, he was nothing. He patted Yanzheng's shoulder and said, "Thank you for your reminder, Brother Yan. I will remember this. By the way," Yanzheng suddenly turned back again at the door. "You need to be careful of that Chu Mian. She's from the demon sections. She's no simple character." Yemo nodded. After Yanzheng left, Yemo sat in the guest room for some time. He really wanted to take Song Yangzhu and Yiling and company to leave River State and find a safe place to stay. However, if he stayed in one place just cultivating nonstop, he wouldn't achieve much. He had to go to the desert plain Herb Valley. Yemo made up his mind. After he went there, he would collect plenty of resources and then leave River State. Yemo now decided to meet the respected Kong Yi. If Yemo wanted those who lurked in the dark after him to feel threatened, he needed Kong Ye's help. Yemo just got up when Mu Yiqing walked in, giving him an invitation. "Brother Yi, this is Immortal Herb Valley's sect leader Mingxin's invitation." Yemo thought it was probably about Yanzheng and looked at the hesitant Mu Yiqing. "Brother Mu, do you have something to say to me?" Mu Yiqing nodded. "Yes, Brother Yi, we're going. I was planning on asking you for some spirit-weaving pill-selling rights, but I underestimated its influence. If we really were to try to sell it, we would probably soon be annihilated." Yemo nodded. Mu Yiqing wasn't an idiot. If he really gave Mu Yiqing the selling rights, then it would be harming him. Yemo wasn't even safe himself. Yemo said, "The spirit-weaving pill isn't mature yet, so I can't even sell it, but I agree with Brother Mu's thinking." Then, he gave the 2 jade cards for entering the herbal plane to Mu Yiqing. "I only need one. You can have the other 2. Mu Yiqing wasn't even hoping of getting one to begin with. He just took one and said, "Brother Yi, I only need one." Yemo remembered that Lu Ming and Mu He weren't very strong, and so they didn't need 2 jade cards indeed. The herbal valley was no safe place, so he took one back and said, "In that case, Brother Mu, we can go there together in 3 days. Mu Yiqing shook his head. "I only need the jade card. I will enter it from somewhere else." "Brother Yi, you're in a dangerous position right now, you need to be careful. Emo nodded and took out some benefit essence pill and cultivation increasing pills from his ring and gave them to Mu Yiqing. You're about to reach the Foundation Establishment State Level 9 peak, so take these pills. If I have time, I will go visit you guys at your sect. Mu Yiqing took the bottles and just wanted to thank Emo when he looked inside with shock. This is the cultivation increasing pill? Emo nodded. Ha! Mu Yiqing was stunned at Yemo's magnanimity. He didn't think a random friend he met would give something that was the most precious thing to a Foundation Establishment State cultivator. This is too precious. Mu Yiqing didn't want to give it back, but he still felt it was too precious. Emo smiled and pushed it back. I'm a pill master. I have lots of these, don't worry. Go form your core and then lead the herb pill sect to prosperity. Perhaps I will go visit your sect in the future. Emo sent Mu Yiqing and company away and then went back inside the hotel. Emo took out the invitation from Ming Xian. It just said that it invited him to Immortal Herb Valley's local residence, saying there were important things to discuss. Emo thought about it and decided to go see Kong Yi and then Ming Xian. The Pill Association was the biggest power in the city, even greater than the city lord. When Emo came to the door, he heard Kong Ye's voice by his ear. Come up. I'm waiting for you on the 11th floor. Coming to the 11th floor, Kong Yi seemed to have been waiting for him for a long time. Kong Yi Qianbei. Emo genuinely respected this old man. Emo respected him for his attitude and manners the most. Letting Emo sit down, Kong Yi suddenly asked, if there had been a third round, how confident would you be in getting first place? Emo thought for a moment and said, 0 confidence. Kong Yi smiled and asked, what if you used all of your power? Emo was shook. No one knew that he had the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. What did the old man mean? He saw Kong Ye's calm face and realized that this old man might have seen something, so he said, I would have 100% confidence. Kong Yi nodded without surprise. Other people thought that I let you win because of the spirit weaving pill and stopped the third round because of that. But I was actually scared you would get first place again on the third round. You didn't disappoint me. You know when to go in and out. I can tell from your first answer, if I insisted on the third round, you probably wouldn't have taken out your rare fire seed. Emo looked at this old man in shock. He was too terrifying. He didn't know how strong Kong Yi was, but since he could tell, doesn't that mean people at his power level could all see that he had a rare fire seed? That way, how could he be sure he wouldn't reveal the Mist Lotus Heart Fire? Kong Yi saw Emo's face was a little stiff and smiled. Don't worry. The reason I can tell you have a rare fire seed, heaven kind, is not because my power level's strong. It's for some other reason. But this shook Emo even more. Was Kong Yi a true immortal? He could tell it was heaven fire? Seeing that Emo didn't talk, Kong Yi took out a dark red ore and said, this is Flame Lotus Heart. Emo immediately felt his Dan Tian jump, as though his Mist Lotus Heart Fire had moved. It had slightly moved and it stayed still afterwards. However, it was still slowly shaking, almost unnoticeably. Emo suddenly realized something. He guessed that Kong Yiqianbei had his own fire too. He could even tell his fire was the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. Realizing this, Emo calmed down instead. Since Kong Yi already knew, there was no point in resisting if Kong Yi wanted his flame. Although Kong Yi was someone he respected, he didn't like this feeling. Yet there was nothing he could do. Emo sighed. He wanted to go to the Herbal Valley even more. He had been there for less than a year and he was at Foundation Establishment State Tertiary stage. But without the adequate resources, no matter how powerful his 3-birth chant was, cultivation wasn't so easy. Seeing Emo calm down, Kong Yi nodded. I only realized you had the Mist Lotus Heart Fire on the stage. Emo nodded. It was so indeed. The Flame Lotus Heart can make the Mist Lotus Heart Fire ascend a level. So, I felt something from the Flame Lotus Heart when I was at some distance from you. However, it was so weak that I didn't think you would have felt it with your power. Kong Ye's tone suddenly grew serious. I was scared that you would be eager to show yourself, not think before doing things, and took out the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. If you had taken it out, no one would have been able to protect you. Emo now realized that the old man was protecting him. He immediately bowed to Kong Yi and said, Thank you, Kong Yichinbei. I'm really grateful. Emo wasn't going to take out the Mist Lotus Heart fire regardless. But Kong Ye's protective attitude made him feel very grateful. Kong Yi nodded. The Mist Lotus Heart fire is very powerful. It ranked third among all of the flames in the cultivation realm. You must not reveal you have it without enough power. I don't know how you go it, but since you could get it, it's your luck. I also got the Flame Lotus Heart accidentally. Now it's yours. Emo was dazed by Kong Ye's last words. The Flame Lotus Heart can make a heaven flame ascend a level. It was clearly a rare item in the world. It was unbelievably hard for rare flames to ascend, much less a heaven flame. Yet, Kong Yi was giving something like that to him. After a long while, Emo reacted. He finally understood what Mu Yiqing had felt before and quickly said, Kong Yichinbei, this is too precious. I can't take it. Kong Yi smiled. You're very good, you have a heart. You were very worried when you realized I knew you had the Mist Lotus Heart fire. But when I take out the Flame Lotus Heart, you say it's too precious. However, it's only precious when considering the Mist Lotus Heart fire. It's not that precious to me. When I announced you first, I was planning on giving you a fire seed. Yet since you have the Mist Lotus Heart fire, it's perfect to give you this Flame Lotus Heart. Hearing these words, Emo realized how wealthy Kong Yichinbei was. He was going to casually give a rare flame away. Emo stood up, took the Flame Lotus Heart and thanked Kong Yi again. Seeing this, Kong Yi said, if your flame is orange, then you can't let the Mist Lotus Heart fire devour the Flame Lotus Heart yet. You must wait until you're at Golden Core State. I believe you came to the tournament mostly for the Desert Herb Valley. There are no nascent Soul State cultivators there, but there are many Golden Core State masters. There's a lot more than 500 cultivators going in. Although the North Far State can only choose 500 cultivators to go in, it's not only open to the North Far State. You need to be careful. Emo had even higher hopes now. It meant that there were better things in it since people from other states wanted to go. You know that Luo Yu continent has 4 states and a sea, right? Kong Yi asked. Emo nodded. Kong Yi wasn't too surprised that Emo knew. The valley is open to every state, but each state has limited spots for going in. However, it's very big. Usually, even when the place is about to close, 90% of the people won't have met someone else. But if you meet cultivators from the South Peace State, you need to be careful. They are very decisive in killing. Those who can go inside are all powerful. Seeing Emo understood this, Kong Yi nodded and said, I was planning on passing on my pill concoction heritage to you. But after seeing you concoct the spirit-weaving pill, I know you will be a great master and your accomplishments will exceed mine by far. If I teach you my things, it would affect you negatively instead. The spirit-weaving pill brought you fame, but also put you in a dangerous predicament. You need to deal with it yourself. Emo realized that Kong Yi had asked him to come so he could give him the Flame Lotus Heart, but he also wanted to protect him. Emo was more grateful to Kong Yi now. He noticed that Kong Yi had closed his eyes and knew that Kong Yi had said all that he wanted to say. Emo bowed at the end and said, Wanbei will remember Qianbei's teachings. Wanbei will leave now. When Emo got to the door, Kong Yi suddenly opened his eyes and said, if you're still alive in 100 years, you can find me at Danglin. The Immortal Herb Valley's residence was much more grandiose than Kong Ye's residence. Even the carpet was emitting spirit chi, which would make it very comfortable to step on. As soon as Emo got there were 2 pretty-looking young girls who led Emo to Ming Xian's room. Emo was surprised because usually someone with a sect leader status wouldn't let him come to his own room. At most, it would be in the regular guest room. Emo found that there was also another beautiful young girl in her room. She was very quiet and stood by Ming Xian's side. She was Qin Muxin. Ming Xian was very happy to see Emo come in. She told Emo to sit down with a smile, and then said to Qin Muxin, Muxin, make some tea for Mr. Yi. Qin Muxin carried a teacup to Emo with a blushed face and said quietly, Elder Martial Brother Yi, please have some tea. Emo was dazed. She was at Golden Core State and he was at Foundation Establishment State. Why had she called him Elder Martial Brother? What does Ming Xianbei need Wanbei for? EMO didn't feel confident facing the Hollow Spirit State sect leader Ming Xian. Ming Xian sipped some tea before saying slowly, "Mr. Yi, you haven't joined any sect yet, right? What do you feel about my Immortal Herb Valley?" When he heard this, EMO was dazed. Didn't the Immortal Herb Valley only take female members? Why did it sound like Ming Xian was inviting him to join the Immortal Herb Valley? Ming Xian Xinbei, EMO don't understand what you mean. I heard that the Immortal Herb Valley only recruits female members. EMO said straight away. Ming Xian smiled. Don't worry, Mr. Yi, we do indeed only take female disciples. However, if you choose to marry into the Immortal Herb Valley, you can join us. Our core disciples can choose a partner from outside the sect and settle with him in the valley. You want me to marry into the sect? EMO blurted. Yet he immediately understood the situation. Qin Muxin was there, which meant that Ming Xian wanted Qin Muxin to be his wife. Ming Xian smiled sweetly. Mr. Yi said things quite straightforwardly, but it's correct. It's not really marrying into the Immortal Herb Valley, it's just settling here. Ming Xian continued. Muxin is the most excellent disciple of the Immortal Herb Valley. She ranked 5th on the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame, and now she has reached Golden Core State. She even ranked 4th on Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. More importantly, she's the #1 beauty in the Immortal Herb Valley. If Mr. Yi is willing, Qin Muxin heard this and blushed even more. She looked down and didn't dare say a word. EMO didn't know why Ming Xian looked so favorably of him, but he was sure Ming Xian wanted Qin Muxin to marry him. However, EMO had no intentions of having another wife. So before Ming Xian finished, EMO quickly got up and bowed. Thank you, Ming Xian Xinbei, for your generosity, but I already have a wife. Hence, I can only reject Xinbei's offer. I'm deeply regretful. Ming Xian was dazed. She hadn't expected EMO would reject her so bluntly. Qin Muxin heard this and the blush on her face went away. Her face even got a little pale. To be honest, she wasn't willing to marry someone she didn't even know for her master, but she had never gone against her. Yet, before she could say anything, EMO had rejected her without hesitation. When Ming Xian realized that EMO actually had rejected her, her tone turned cold. Mr. Yi, I know you have a wife, but I never told you to divorce her. You can bring your wife and sister to the Immortal Herb Valley. Moreover, who said that us cultivators can only have one spouse? EMO realized that Ming Xian had completely investigated his identity. Ming Xian paused for a moment and continued. The reason I chose you is not because you made the spirit-weaving pill, but for some other reason. I don't think you're dumb. Without the support of the Immortal Herb Valley, how many people will be going after it? I bet you know quite well. EMO heard this and his heart started skipping even faster. Was it not for the spirit-weaving pill? Had she also seen that he had the Mist Lotus Heart Fire? But soon he calmed down. He felt like Ming Xian probably meant something else. Just when Ming Xian was about to explain, Qin Muxin suddenly said, Master, I don't agree to this wedding. Ming Xian was dazed. She had already told her disciple to choose EMO and she had given her the reason. Why was her disciple rejecting him? Yet she soon realized that since EMO had already rejected her, if her disciple also didn't reject him, she would lose a lot of face. Seeing this, Ming Xian understood it was probably fated. She remembered what her master had told her. Ming Xian, if one day you see someone making spirit sense pill signs using ordinary qi fire, then this person has created a new system of pill concoction. He will become a pill immortal for sure. If he doesn't die, then his future will be unimaginable. After Pill King, it came Pill Immortal level. However, there had never been a Pill Immortal on Luoyu continent. She had watched EMO concoct pills from the start to the end. Hence, she could tell that EMO would definitely not be an ordinary person in the future. She wanted to pull EMO into the Immortal Herb Valley. Otherwise, with the Immortal Herb Valley status and Qin Muxin's condition, how could she even suggest sharing the same husband with another woman? Since Muxin doesn't agree to this, then never mind. Ming Xian lifted her teacup. She knew that she couldn't force someone like EMO unless she killed him. However, since Kong Yi favored him and his current fame was rising, she couldn't do anything to him then. Moreover, she didn't want to do anything to him. Mo's accomplishments in the future would be significant. It was best to keep good relations with him. Mo left the immortal Herb Valley residence sweating. If he had angered that hollow spirit state master, he wouldn't have been able to walk out of there today. He had been threatened by all sorts of scarily powerful people recently. This made Mo feel very insulted, but he could only sigh. He needed to increase his power until the day where no one would dare say a thing to him. When Mo was walking to the Sifang Hotel, he was stopped by a man. "May I ask if you're Pill Master Yi?" The man saw Mo and saluted him with his fists. "Yes, I am." "Who are you?" The man was in his 40s and had long black hair. However, he was at Golden Core State primary stage. Hearing this, the man showed excitement and said, "I'm Hu Haibin. I have a request." "What is it?" "Tell me," Mo asked. "I heard you have an extra spot for the Herb Valley, so I came to ask for one. Of course, name your price." "I'm willing to pay for everything," Hu Haibing said. Mo nodded. "Indeed, I have extra spot, but it won't come cheap," Hu Haibing said without hesitation. "I know it's not cheap. Please name your price, Pill Master Yi. If I can't afford it, then never mind." Hearing this, Mo realized that Hu Haibing really wanted one. So he said, "I don't really care about spirit stones." Before Mo had finished, the man gave his storage ring to Mo and said, "Pill Master Yi, have a look yourself. If there's anything you want in there, take it." Mo was shook. Storage rings were like the second life to cultivators. Yet, Hu Haibing had given it to him casually. Regardless whether Hu Haibing had a second ring or not, Mo had decided to give the spot to Hu Haibing. Even if there weren't things he needed, he would just take spirit stones. He really approved of Hu Haibing's personality. When Mo saw inside the large amount of spirit stones, herbs as well as some spirit artifact, he immediately realized that Hu Haibing had given him the ring he usually used. There were millions of middle-grade spirit stones in his ring and tens of thousands of top-grade spirit stones. This was a very wealthy cultivator. But Mo really didn't need these pills and spirit artifacts. He scanned the whole ring and didn't find anything he really needed. Just when he wanted to just take some spirit stones, he saw a purple sword at the corner of the storage ring. He thought for a moment and took the sword out. Mo immediately felt that the sword was very heavy. He quickly used his cultivation essence to hold the sword. This was the first time Mo saw a sword like that. It was very heavy and looked very ugly. To be honest, it was just like a somewhat longer and thicker chopping knife. But when Mo saw the two tiny words Zisu on it, he was shaken even more. This was clearly a sword. It might look ugly, but it was still a sword, yet it was named Zisu. Seeing Mo take the Zisu, Hu Haibing quickly said, "I found this sword in an ancient ruin. It's called Zisu, but the only pity is that I can't use spirit control. It can only be used by those with a lot of power. If Pill Master Yi wants it, then take it. And if you don't think that's enough, take some spirit stones too." Unable to use spirit control, Mo didn't think much about it. He felt this Hu Haibing was a good person, someone worthy of being friends with. Mo threw back the ring to Hu Haibing. "Zisu is not bad. I'll take it. As for spirit stones, I won't take any. Here is the jade card." Hu Haibing didn't think Mo would be this easy to talk to. He quickly took the jade card and saluted with his fists. "Thank you, Pill Master Yi. If you need me in the future, just call for me." Mo said politely, "Brother who is a genuine person, it is a joyful thing to have met someone like you. Why don't you have a seat upstairs before you go?" Hu Haibing seemed to be in a rush and politely rejected Mo's invitation and left. Going back, the first thing Mo did was to set up some restriction in his room and then take out the Zisu. His guts were telling him that the sword wasn't simple. Mo seeped his spirit sense inside it and tried to use spirit control on the sword. But Mo's spirit sense seemed to have sunk into a sea of mud. At this obstacle, Mo actually rejoiced. He was a formation master, and as soon as his spirit sense and cultivation essence went inside Zisu, he understood that it wasn't that Zisu couldn't be spirit controlled, but that spirit control was stopped by some high-level restriction. The restriction had to be broken first if you wanted to spirit control the sword. The restriction had been there for a long time and was already loosening up. It would still pose some difficulty for Emo, but it wasn't completely hopeless. 2 days later, Zissou made a cracking noise as the ancient chi inside of it seemed to have gone away. Zissou emitted a layer of faint purple color and seemed a lot heavier again. Seeing Zissou like this, Emo rejoiced. He knew that it would be no ordinary thing, that it wasn't even a spirit artifact. But he also knew that it wasn't something on a higher level than a spirit artifact. Emo had to quickly spirit control it so that other people wouldn't notice anything from the purple rays, though. Emo had thought that since Zissou was left behind from ancient times, it would take a long time to spirit control it, but he only spent half a day to spirit control it in the end. The purple ray had rescinded. At the same time, Emo had completely understood what was in his hands. It was a sword fetus. Emo couldn't help but admire the person who made this fetus. After someone spirit controlled it, it would be able to change into the most suitable weapon based on the user. He also found that Zissou could be upgraded. This meant that the master of Zissou could add in different materials at different times to make the weapon more suitable to the master. But after the first upgrade, Zissou wouldn't be able to change shape anymore. Emo was shook. Did ancient cultivators all make fetus-like weapons? But soon Emo rejected the idea. No matter what material Zissou was made from, if all weapons were made like that, then cultivation artifacts wouldn't be as valuable as they were. No matter what, Emo was really stunned about the means with which Zissou had been made. He guessed that the heritage must have been lost in the cultivation realm, but if he had time, he really wanted to go into the Golden Page world and try out Zissou-like forgery methods. Emo soon did go into the Golden Page world. However, it was not to try to learn the forgery method, but to test Zissou's power. He went into an open space and gathered his cultivation essence, hacking outwards. A purple ray flashed as a ravine that was 100 meters long formed on the ground. Emo even felt that space seemed to have become unstable from that slash. The dull gray sky even rumbled, seemingly unhappy that he was testing the sword in the Golden Page world. Silver, who slept on the side, also seemed to be dissatisfied with it and chirped unhappily. Emo threw a few pills at Silver, and it immediately cheerfully ran to the side. Emo felt Zissou lovingly. This was the magic artifact he wanted. Right now, it was just a low-grade spirit artifact, but Emo was sure he would be able to upgrade it to higher levels. Emo didn't dare to stay in the Golden Page world for long and came out. It was already the 3rd day, so he would have to go to the Herb Valley the next day. Emo walked out of his room happily. Pill Master Yi. Emo didn't expect to see Yi Chungjun as soon as he came out. He immediately remembered that he had agreed to see him. Brother Chun, I'm really sorry. I went into solitary cultivation and lost track of time. Emo saluted with his fists apologetically. It's fine. I came in suddenly too. Yi Chungjun didn't seem unhappy at all. Yi Chungjun had a really nice attitude and manner. He came to find Emo just to give him a rare herb list. He remembered that Emo hadn't recognized the last 3 herbs in the first round and felt very sorry for him. So he came to give it to Emo. Before Emo got things, the list would have been very important to Emo, but now, Emo could only be grateful to Yi Chungjun. Emo felt like Yi Chungjun was similar to Kong Yi. They were examples of genuine and honest cultivators. Emo exchanged some pill concoction experience with him. Emo would have really wanted to give him a Chaohuan pill, but he knew he couldn't do that at the moment. It's not that he wasn't willing, but that Yi Chungjun was too honest and would probably spill that the Chaohuan pill had come from him. Emo benefited quite a lot from talking with Yi Chungjun. Although he had started a whole new system, he still learnt a lot of techniques and common knowledge from Yi Chungjun. This would let him make less mistakes in the future. The two conversed deep into the night before finally leaving. The next morning, Emo and the other cultivators came to the portal to the Desert Plain Herb Valley. The spots inside were limited, but there were still a lot of people going. Most people went to do business on the outside. When Emo came to the Herb Valley, a small market had already formed. Most cultivators had squeezed themselves in this area, and stalls were filling it on both sides. Emo didn't have many spirit stones. Although he wanted to buy a set of armor and some high-level paper runes, his spirit stones weren't enough for even a small fraction of that. Emo didn't see any sand in this desert plain herb valley, nor did he see any entrance. This place was just a short mountain range. There were no tall mountains or dense forests. Emo was confused but didn't ask. He knew that this place wasn't the herb valley yet. He didn't know why he was teleported here, but he didn't go around asking people. Emo scanned his spirit sense and didn't find Mu Yiqing or Hu Haibing. Many people who came here seemed to be with people from their own sect, but Emo was by himself. Emo saw Qin Muxin and Guang Wei and a few other Immortal Herb Valley people. However, Ming Xian and 2 other nascent soul state cultivators were with them. Ming Xian walked to the group of another sect and talked to the leader. Emo felt unlucky. These big sect members had nascent soul state and even hollow spirit state cultivators to protect them, but he was just a loner. Qin Muxin turned back and caught Emo's glance, but she immediately turned around as though not knowing him. Emo felt bored and found a place to sit down, but not long after, a man and woman came to his side. They were both false core level cultivators, but Emo felt an intense chi come from them from far away. They had clearly been through mountains of bodies and rivers of blood. "Friend, are you going inside the Herb Valley?" the man asked. Just one sentence made people feel his intense killing chi clearly. Emo got up and nodded. "Yes." Hearing this, the man looked joyful and threw a bag of spirit stones at Emo. "Take these spirit stones and give me your jade card." Emo's eyes went cold. He didn't believe someone dared to take his jade card. He'd worked so hard for it and got in first place in the tournament just so that he could get it. Yet this guy thought he could just take it with some spirit stones? Before Emo could talk, the false core cultivator noticed Emo's ring and said in surprised joy, "Give me your ring too." Emo was so angry he laughed. "Why should I give what's mine to you? I've paid the spirit stones already." The man's voice turned cold. The Herb Valley was about to open, and most big sect members had their Chenbei protecting them. Yet Emo sat there alone. He was clearly a solo cultivator. Piss off. Emo didn't know if he could kill people there, but he didn't want to. "Fuck you, how dare you!" The false core cultivator took the spirit stones back and took out a dark axe. People immediately surrounded them to watch the fun. "Boss he, who dared to offend you?" someone said with a strange tone. A Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage cultivator walked out. He was bald and had a fat face. The man said plainly, "Look, there's a blind idiot here. I wanted to buy his things and took out the spirit stones, yet now he says he doesn't want to sell. Fuck. Does he think I'm easy to mess with?" There were a lot of people around, but no one dared to talk. However, what people didn't expect was that the cultivator who was about to be killed asked, "Are you allowed to kill here as you please?" People immediately laughed at Emo's question. As long as no big sects were involved, you could kill anyone you wanted there. Of course you can, as long as you have the power. You could kill Boss He and no one would look for trouble with you. The bald man started laughing as if he had just heard the funniest joke of his life. Emo nodded. "That's good then." Emo knew that with his Foundation Establishment State Tertiary Stage power, he could kill this Boss He in one move with the Illusion Cloud technique. Boss He seemed to understand that Emo would resist, but he didn't move his axe. He looked at Emo. "I'll give you a chance. Take out your magic artifact, because otherwise, you won't even have the time to counterattack." Emo nodded and took out Zissou. As soon as Emo took it out, people started laughing even more. Zissou was too funny. It just looked like a long chopping knife. "Martial Sister Muxin, that guy seems to be in trouble. The cultivator looking for trouble with him is called Boss He. He's a false core cultivator and has some power in Broken Leafs gangs. The two are about to fight. Funny how that guy is #1 in the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame, yet he is being bullied by a group of trash. How dare he reject our Immortal Herb Valley's goodwill? Serves him right." Guang Wei also knew Emo, and she had been watching him. Qin Muxin had long since noticed it too and frowned. She moved, and the next moment, She appeared before Boss He and Yemo, who was about to attack, stopped and just stabbed Zisu into the ground. Piss off. If you dare to appear in front of me again, I will kill you immediately, Qin Mushin threatened coldly. Boss He heard this and was about to rage. But when he saw it was Qin Mushin of the Immortal Herb Valley, he immediately shut his mouth. He didn't know why she would intervene in such small matters, but he immediately bowed. Yes, Wanbei will leave immediately. The other bald cultivator also left immediately. They knew they were nothing compared to a 5-star sect. Yemo looked at Qin Mushin in a daze. He didn't expect that the quiet and shy-looking Qin Mushin would be this scary when she needed to be. He didn't know why she was helping him as he had rejected her yesterday, but no matter what, since she came to help, Yemo saluted with his fists gratefully and said, "Thank you, Mrs. Qin." She looked plainly at Yemo and suddenly said, "To be honest, it's not really a good thing for you to be going to the Herb Valley. If I were you, I'd stay at home and concoct some pills." Then she left. Guangwei looked at Yemo and said, "You're really lucky to meet the kind-hearted martial sister Mushin. To be honest, though, I agree with her words. Perhaps you will regret it if you go." "Oh wait, you won't have the chance to regret." Then, she shook her head and left with Qin Mushin. Yemo shook his head too. If it wasn't for Qin Mushin, he would have killed that Hichong already. In any case, he knew that Qin Mushin had saved him not because she had feelings for him, but because she didn't want a good pill master like him to be killed by a hoodlum for no reason. Then suddenly, there was a huge rumbling sound, and Yemo looked over. A huge portal suddenly opened. Everyone immediately approached it. A big tall cultivator flew up and stood in front of it saying, "The Desert Herb Valley opens once every 50 years. Each time it's a big harvest for us. However, our North Far State only has 500 spots. It's Linxianbei. It's said that he's already at truth realization state. Isn't he about to ascend to the immortal realm? No way. I heard the North Far State has little cultivation resources. There's rarely any truth realization state cultivators." Yemo didn't dare to even use spirit sense to look at this cultivator. From his judgment, he felt that he couldn't be weaker than Kongyi, maybe even stronger. The Herb Valley is full of dangers, but it also has abundant resources. My opinion is that if you meet an unbeatable enemy, move aside. There's plenty of resources there. Although there aren't many solo cultivators there, there are still some. Once you come out, you can sell some resources to the Pill Association. We will give you a good price. Okay, I won't talk for long. The portal will last for half a day. In half a day, it will disappear. The valley is open for 3 months. In 3 months, it will automatically teleport the people inside out. Now, those with a jade card, grab your jade card and go inside the portal." Then, Linxianbei moved aside. Yemo hadn't expected that extremely powerful cultivator to also be from the Pill Association. Just from what he had said, small sect cultivators and solo cultivators usually sold their herbs to the Pill Association. Those with jade cards formed a line in front of the portal and started going in, under the envious eyes of those who didn't. Yemo looked behind and noticed a bitter-faced golden core state cultivator. He took a step forward. Just when he's standing still, he saw a cultivator get thrown away by the light from the formation. Yemo was surprised and the cultivator cried out, "Wang Yukai! That bastard sold me a fake jade card." The formation got activated and Yemo felt a white ray surround him. The next moment he felt extremely dizzy. Yemo realized that he must have covered a long distance or he wouldn't have felt dizzy. Then his feet touched solid ground. Yemo knew he was there. The first thing he did was take out his Zisu. It was his first time there. He didn't know if it was dangerous or not. As soon as Yemo held Zisu, he felt a blood-killing intent rush to his face. Yemo was shook and hacked at that killing intent without hesitation. After a purple beam, there was a cry. A level 3 earth scorpion had been hacked in half. In front of him, there was an endless desert. A 10-meter-long ravine spread below his feet. So strong, Yemo subconsciously said and looked at his Zisu. He waved his sword hurriedly and a level 3 beast died. What if he used Illusion Cloud with Zisu? Yemo took the beast core and the tail needle of the scorpion. Then Emo looked at his surroundings. It was a boundless desert. A few scorpion beasts were crawling underneath the sand's surface. There wasn't even normal grass, much less spirit herbs. Was this the desert plain that had countless herbs? Emo suspected that he has been teleported to the wrong place. Suddenly, he heard some gushing sound. Emo scanned his spirit sense out and saw an army formed of countless scorpion beasts charging towards him. Emo saw this and his head buzzed. If there were this many beasts, then even if there actually were spirit herbs, all of them would have been devoured by these animals. Without thinking, he took out the flying pike and quickly left. Emo knew he wouldn't be able to escape if he got surrounded by these things. Thinking about the desert, Emo thought of Luoying. He wondered how she was. Emo flew for nearly half a day and didn't see a single person, nor any herb. He no longer believed he was going to make a fortune here. Just when Emo was about to land on the sand again and check underneath it, he spotted a black figure in the distant horizon. Emo scanned his spirit sense there and found it was a lush green mountain range. Emo rejoiced and immediately accelerated his flying pike to go there. 10 minutes later, Emo had left the desert. He passing by a nearly 10 kilometers wide river that led to the green mountain range. The dense spirit chi struck Emo, who almost moaned out of comfort. The first thought Emo had was not to find spirit herbs, but to cultivate there. The spirit chi there was amazingly dense. However, Emo knew it would be too much of a waste to use the 3 months there to cultivate. The mountain range wasn't big, it was at most 100 acres. It was more like an oasis, rather than a mountain range. Just when Emo was about to search the place carefully, he saw a very luscious zhou hua flower, which was a level 4 spirit herb and an ingredient for the clear essence pill. The clear essence pill, like the benefit essence pill, was a pill for foundation establishment state cultivators to use. However, its potency was much stronger than the benefit essence pill. The reason the clear essence pill was so much more expensive than the benefit essence pill was that the main ingredient for it, the zhou hua flower, was very rare. Yet now, Emo had found a big patch of at least 200. Without hesitation, Emo dug them all up and threw them inside the Golden Page world. Spirit herbs couldn't grow in his Golden Page world yet, but it wouldn't let them die either. Soon, Emo found more the water earth flower, sword ginseng, searing sungrass, the light gathering flower, and many level 3 and 4 herbs. He collected all of them and sent them into his Golden Page world. Emo was very fast. He had searched through half of the place in 2 hours. Just when Emo was digging out some searing sungrass, he smelled a faint aroma. Emo subconsciously inhaled it, but he immediately realized what was happening. There was an extreme grade herb that was about to mature nearby. Emo rejoiced and sped towards it without hesitation. However, Emo stopped after flying a few hundred meters. A few hundred meters away, there was a blue tree that was 10 meters tall. There were 3 pale blue fruits on it. The Lin blue fruit, Emo recognized. It was a spirit fruit without element. It was beneficial to all cultivators below nascent soul state. It wasn't for increasing a cultivator's power, nor to be made into a pill. Its main function was that if consumed with another pill, it would amplify its power. Could also cure pill poison. These 3 fruits were about to mature, but when Emo saw the big blue snake under the tree, he frowned. This blue python was nearly at level 5, which was like being at halfway golden core state. Emo didn't know what kind of beast it was. However, from its blue color, Emo could tell that it had been consuming a lot of the Lin blue fruit. The fruit smell was getting more and more intense. The blue python also saw Emo. It immediately got up and opened its mouth, hissing at Emo. Emo wasn't going to let the Lin blue fruit go away. He ignored the blue python's warnings, pulled out Zisu, and inserted his cultivation essence inside. Zisu emitted a faint purple sword ray. As soon as it was shot out, it separated from Zisu and split into 2. Then, it immediately split into 4 sword rays. The blue python seemed to have never seen such thing before, but it knew of its power. It swept its tail at the sword ray at once. It was the first time Emo used Illusion Cloud after having gotten Zisu. The sword ray instantly clashed with the blue python's tail. Emo felt a huge power smash on his chest. He almost couldn't breathe. He felt as though he was going to be thrown many kilometers away. Emo was shook. He quickly used his cultivation essence to try to stabilize his body. Yet even so, he was still pushed back. Luckily, his cultivation essence was a lot more dense than an ordinary foundation establishment state's. He was thrown tens of meters away in the air, but he managed to stop himself and landed on the ground. Emo was shook. He had approached it and used Illusion Cloud Division Strike immediately. However, even so, he had still been sent back. The blue python's power was very shocking. He didn't dare to hold back anymore. He injected Zisu with his cultivation essence and he got ready to use the Illusion Cloud Whirlpool Strike. Yet when he looked at the blue python, it dashed across his eyes. The blue python ran away. Emo was left dumbfounded. Why had the blue python escaped? It had the upper hand. When he saw the blood on the ground, Emo understood what seemed to have happened. The blue python had gotten scared of his Illusion Cloud Division Strike. His first attack had injured it, so it chose to run away. Perhaps the Lin Blue fruit wasn't valuable enough for it to fight for it with its life. It had probably eaten too many and the fruit was no longer useful to it. Emo put away Zisu and breathed at ease. If he had really fought a life-or-death battle with the blue python, even if he had won, he would have exerted a lot of energy. It was the best outcome. However, Emo also realized that the reason the first strike hadn't really injured the blue python was because he hadn't mastered it completely yet. If he could split it into 1,000 sword rays as soon as he used it, then there would have been no way the blue python could have gotten away. Emo shook his head. Couldn't be reached simply by practice. It also required a strong spirit sense and cultivation essence. Even so, Emo rejoiced. He felt that using the illusion cloud with Zisu was more powerful than before. He was sure that if he used it at Golden Core State, then the blue python would have been filled with holes and wouldn't have been able to move a single bit. The Lin Blue fruit had gotten more and more aromatic. Emo could tell that it was about to blossom. He took out 3 jade boxes and waited under the tree. It didn't take long until a fruit fell down. Emo put it in the jade box. When the second one fell, Emo did the same. When the third one was about to fall, 2 howls sounded. Emo's spirit sense scanned 2 cultivators who had just arrived there. Emo didn't care much at first, as the first guy was at Foundation Establishment State Tertiary Stage, but the other one was at Golden Core State. Emo was shook. He was planning on taking the fruit for him, but he had no chance against a Golden Core State. Without thinking, Emo took out his flying pike and immediately left. Yet before Emo could leave, the Golden Core State cultivator stood before him. Emo stopped and put away the flying pike. He couldn't run from a Golden Core State master. Moreover, that guy was at Golden Core State level 4, which meant that he was at Golden Core State middle stage. Leave behind your storage ring and that chopping knife of yours. Piss off. The Golden Core State cultivator said coldly. Emo might have agreed if he had just asked for the 2 Lin Blue fruits. But this guy had told him to leave behind his storage ring and sword. It would be like killing him in some way. He even saw a sliver of killing intent in the Golden Core State cultivator's eyes. Clearly, he was very careful, letting him drop his weapon first to then kill him. Emo's eyes turned cold. He knew things weren't going to work out peacefully, so he held Zisu tightly and said, "Do you want to kill me and rob me?" The other Foundation Establishment State cultivator laughed. "Master, this guy is an idiot." The Golden Core State cultivator was dazed and laughed. "Yes, I'm not only going to rob you, but I kill you too." Then he immediately attacked. Emo shot out the Illusion Cloud Essence Binding Strike. The purple ray with sword chi spread around the Golden Core State cultivator and formed a cultivation essence field. The Golden Core State man hadn't thought that Emo would dare attack him first, so he was furious. He sneered and his strong cultivation essence spread out. Emo felt that his first strike had been slowed down and it couldn't be used to its full power. Emo furiously exerted his cultivation essence. He had to use the first strike before he could use the second strike. When Emo released all of his cultivation essence to activate the Illusion Cloud Essence Binding Strike, the Golden Core State cultivator realized his cultivation essence was not running quite smoothly and the feeling was getting worse and worse. He frowned and pointed at him. Then, A beam of cultivation essence struck Yi Mo's blade screen. Crack. Yi Mo's chest bone immediately broke. The difference in power was too great. His first strike had only slowed down the golden core state cultivator's cultivation essence by a minor bit, and yet he had gotten injured because of that. Yi Mo bit his lips and shot out the illusion cloud division strike. Yi Mo had used his cultivation essence to the maximum. The sword ray was like lightning, flowing towards the golden core state cultivator from all directions and instantly turning into tens of rays from just one, which then turned into more than 100. The golden core state cultivator had been sealed off by the sword rays, which were still increasing. The cultivator's eyes narrowed. He hadn't thought a mere foundation establishment state cultivator could know such sword technique. His eyes immediately looked greedy. The next moment, his ring flashed and a rapier fell in his hands. The golden core state cultivator shook his hands lightly, and the sky got filled with sword light, completely covering Yi Mo's sword rays. Pierce, pierce. Yi Mo's sword rays had been stopped and they couldn't multiply anymore. Thud. Yi Mo was struck again and thrown in the air tens of meters. Yi Mo spat a mouthful of blood, while the golden core state cultivator took a few steps back too. He had some gashes on him. However, after using his cultivation essence, these minor wounds disappeared immediately. He stared coldly at Yi Mo and his killing intent rose drastically. He hadn't thought that a mere foundation establishment state level 7 cultivator could injure him. It had never happened before, despite the injuries being very minor. Yi Mo's heart sunk. He realized he wasn't on the same level as that golden core state cultivator. Yi Mo immediately grabbed Zissou and started running. He knew that if he kept fighting, he would die for sure. Shadowless was powerful, but facing a fully powered golden core state cultivator, Yi Mo knew that Shadowless didn't stand a chance either. Are two trying to escape? The cultivator sneered and chased after him. Yi Mo knew that the golden core state cultivator wasn't going to let him go. He ran for his life desperately while trying to think of a plan. A huge cave appeared before Yi Mo. His spirit sense immediately saw the blue python he had fought not long ago. Without thinking, he charged inside. The golden core state cultivator saw this and sneered. He wasn't in a rush to kill Yi Mo. Yi Mo's sword technique was quite good, so he was going to think of a way to get that first. He could see the blue python as well. It was a level 4 peak beast, yet it didn't threaten him. The blue python saw Yi Mo immediately and raised its head, hissing at him. Clearly, it was warning Yi Mo, but it also had some fear in its eyes. Couldn't understand. The python had ran away and given up the Lin blue fruit. Why had the human chased it there? Just when the animal was about to kick the human out of its cave, the human ignored it and went deeper inside. Before it could react, another human charged inside. And this human was even cockier. He attacked with his sword without hesitation. The blue python couldn't dodge it and the sword pierced its stomach. The animal howled painfully and its huge body fell on top of the golden core state cultivator. The cave was very big, but pebbles were flying everywhere. The golden core state cultivator sneered. A mere animal dared to act cocky in his face. His flying sword shot powerful cultivation essence. He was about to strike the blue python's head, and it was impossible for a level 4 beast to dodge it. But suddenly, he felt something wasn't right. The foundation establishment state cultivator he was chasing wasn't in his spirit senses range anymore. When he realized this, his body went cold. The golden core state man immediately understood what had happened. The foundation establishment state cultivator was ambushing him. He was furious and tried to dodge it. However, he was too late. Countless sword chi whirlpools had entered his body and ravaged his meridians. The golden core state cultivator spat many mouthfuls of blood. He was instantly heavily injured. Not good. The golden core state master wanted to charge out of the blue python's cave immediately, but the blue python was furious. Its tail swept the golden core state, smashing him into the roof of the cave. As soon as the golden core state cultivator fell on the ground, he saw Yi Mo's purple sword charge at him again. He was scared now. He didn't understand how that mere foundation establishment state level 7 cultivator had managed to ambush him. Even if he hadn't kept his attention on this cultivator, he shouldn't have been able to avoid his spirit sense. Little did he know Emo could even fool the spirit sense of a hollow spirit state master, much less his. Emo used the illusion cloud whirlpool strike with his full power. Rumble, Zisu, and the Golden Core State Cultivator's flying sword clashed, creating a huge explosion. The Golden Core State man was knocked out of the cave. The Golden Core State Cultivator breathed at ease. As long as he got out, then no matter how heavy his injuries were, he could kill the Foundation Establishment State Cultivator. Just when the Golden Core State Cultivator was about to take a few pills, he felt like something had entered his body. Then Yemo's Zisu brought a gust of purple death rays again. If he wanted to kick out Shadowless, he would have to face that endless sword ray. If he really got hit by that endless sword ray, then even a Golden Core State Cultivator would be dead for sure. The Golden Core State Cultivator had no choice but to send out his flying sword, planning to kill Emo first before he dealt with Shadowless. Instantly, the Golden Core State Cultivator's essence blood and meridians were devoured by Shadowless. If Emo hadn't stopped it, Shadowless would have devoured the Golden Core Master too. The Golden Core State Cultivator made a terrifying cry of pain. His flying sword got smashed and he was instantly torn into a bloody mist by the onslaught of sword rays. Emo waved his hand and a dark golden core landed in his hand. At the same time, a storage ring appeared too. Shadowless flew back to Emo and growled at the golden core unhappily. Emo breathed at ease. If the blue python hadn't helped him, he would have really been in danger. Emo turned back to Blue Python and said, "Thanks for saving my life. This golden core is yours." Then he threw the golden core to the blue python. The blue python caught it with its mouth in joy. The human cultivator had actually given him such a good thing. It was a gift from the heavens. Emo took a few medical pills and gave one to the blue python. "This is for you too, thanks." Then Emo turned away to leave. He had to kill the other Foundation Establishment State Cultivator. The blue python watched as Emo left, still in disbelief that he gotten a golden core for no reason. Although its intelligence hadn't fully awakened yet, it understood that the human cultivator had not only helped him kill an enemy, but also given him a golden core. That Foundation Establishment State Cultivator stood under the Lin Blue Fruit Tree waiting. He was confident that his master could kill Emo easily. "I made you wait quite some time," Emo's voice sounded. The Foundation Establishment State Cultivator turned around. When he saw it was Emo, his eyes opened widely, as though he was seeing the most unbelievable scene in his life. Where was his master? "Your master is waiting for you, you should hurry up." As soon as Emo's voice sounded, he hacked with Zisu. Blux was spilled, the Foundation Establishment State man had gotten killed. Emo took his storage bag and finally rested at ease. He didn't know where that cultivator came from. However, if he had an important background, he couldn't let news of him having killed him get out. Emo rested for a while. He was planning on digging the tree out when 3 sword rays approached him. 3 cultivator landed nearby Emo in rapid speed. Emo noticed that there was no Golden Core State Cultivator among them. It's the Lin Fruit Tree." One of the cultivators recognized the tree. He then looked at Emo with joy and excitement. The fruit must have given him essence blood. He's so lucky. Not only did he get a spot to come in, but he also saw the tree immediately. "No, his luck isn't too good, because we found him. Ha ha ha." Another cultivator continued. Emo had recovered a great deal now, so he studied the 3 cultivators. He was surprised to find that he knew them. One was Boss He, another one was that bald man. He hadn't seen a single person in the desert. How come they were together? Yet then, Emo immediately realized that they must have had communication paper runes and formed a squad after they came in. Seeing the wounds on them, Emo could tell that they hadn't found the desert easy to walk through. They had probably battled the scorpions. Emo was impressed that they had managed to get the spots to come in. However, from their tone, Emo could tell that they had been looking for him specially. How had they found him? Emo immediately checked his clothes, but his expression soon turned really bad. Without him noticing, he had been marked with a spirit sense mark. Emo realized at once that it must have been that bitter-looking Golden Core State Cultivator in the line for the portal. "It's you, punk," Bossy then immediately looked at Emo's storage ring. Kid, that chick outside liked minding other people's business, so you got away. This time, I want to see how you're going to get away. Then He-Chong chopped out with his axe. Emo didn't answer and just sent out sword rays with Zisu. He-Chong was at the false core state, so he was a far cry from true golden core state power. Even the blue python was stronger than He-Chong. He could only block 30% of Yi Mo's sword rays as the remaining pierced his cultivation essence barrier. Arg! After a cry of pain, He-Chong's axe was sent flying, and the remaining sword rays penetrated his body, leaving behind a bloody mist. Emo was dazed. He-Chong was a technically foundation establishment state tertiary stage cultivator, yes, but his false core state meant that he was actually a level higher than Emo. Yet a guy like him died without even blocking one of his moves. Was he made of paper? Emo shook his head and put away Zisu. Seeing He-Chong fall to the ground with his eyes still wide open, Emo took his storage bag and said coldly, "Actually, what you said was also what I wanted to say." Only then did the other two cultivators react. They were a little weaker than He-Chong, yet He-Chong couldn't even last a move against the foundation establishment state level 7 cultivator in front of them. Clearly, they would be no match for Emo even if they joined forces. The bald-headed cultivator had finally understood why the cultivator in front of him had asked if you could kill as you please before they came in. That was because he had wanted to kill him and He-Chong all along. Yet he and the people around thought this guy was dumb. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but Emo didn't have the mood to keep wasting time with them. Countless purple rays flashed across, and the bald man and the other cultivator were sliced into pieces without resistance. Emo took their storage bags and then dug up the Lin Blue fruit tree and sent it into his golden page world. After cleaning up the marks here, Emo found a quiet place nearby and dug a cultivation home to recover. A day later, Emo had fully recovered. He took a bath and changed all of his clothes. The golden core state cultivator with a bitter expression would know for sure that Emo had killed He-Chong and company. And Emo couldn't beat the bitter-faced fellow as of yet. Emo quickly organized the storage bags he had gained from the hoodlums, but they didn't have anything good. Only some low-grade pills and middle-grade spirit stones. However, that golden core state cultivator did have hundreds of thousands of top-grade spirit stones and 2 million middle-grade spirit stones. The pills he had were also at a higher level. However, what made Emo the happiest was that he found an extreme-grade spirit stone in there too. This was the first time Emo saw an extreme-grade spirit stone. And as expects, it was very pretty. It looked natural and emitted strong spirit chi. Emo put away the spirit stones and then took out a jade card that had the words Demon Spirit Sect, and the word Su was marked on it. It seemed the golden core state came from the Demon Spirit Sect. Emo didn't care and dumped everything into the golden page world. Then, Emo took out a Zhouhuan flower and made a few bottles of the clear essence oil before leaving his cultivation home. He had realized once again that his power was too weak. Any golden core state could take his life. There should be tons of golden core states in the Herbal Valley. And so, Emo decided to find a place with adequate spirit chi and cultivate for a month first. It was important to find herbs, but his life was the most important. Emo collected whatever herbs he could find around before stepping on Zisu and leaving the area. Rumble. A few 100 kilometers away, Emo heard a deep explosion and subconsciously looked in that direction. A few more rumbles sounded. There seemed to be someone attacking some formation. Emo saw multiple sword rays and traveled in that direction. It wasn't long until Emo came before an ancient, round building. There were many cultivators gathered before it, at least 30. There were about 10 golden core state cultivators among them. This ancient structure was protected by a very strong restriction. Emo didn't know why these people wanted to break this defensive restriction. Was this some ancient cultivator ruin? It's a spirit marrow ruin. Another golden core state flew over and called out in joy after seeing the structure. As Emo heard this, his heart started beating rapidly. He knew spirit marrow all too well. It was the most easily digested spirit item for cultivators. With spirit marrow, they wouldn't even need to cultivate, they just had to put it on their hand, and it would be automatically digested. This place was a spirit marrow pond, so if he could go in to cultivate, he would be able to reach Foundation Establishment State peak in less than half a month. With that, he could form his golden core at any time. If he became a golden core cultivator, he wouldn't need to be concerned by other golden core states. Emo's eyes lit up. He had to get in the spirit marrow pond no matter what. All the cultivators here looked fervent, though. Who didn't want to go in there? A golden core state stopped the people attacking the restriction and stood high up in the air. Everyone, the spirit marrow pond is a treasure of this world, and everyone wants to go cultivate in it. But there are so many people here. It would be unfair if everyone went in. So I suggest that everyone attack the restriction here together, but after breaking the restriction, Foundation Establishment State cultivators can only cultivate for a day. No Foundation Establishment State cultivator dared to rebuke this. Emo was angry, but he didn't dare say anything. Even if the Golden Core State told them to leave immediately, he wouldn't be able to do anything. This Golden Core State cultivator was already at Golden Core State level 7. That was the Golden Core State tertiary stage. It would be all too easy for him to kill him. No matter what, Emo soon joined the attack on the restriction. One day was better than nothing. 15 minutes later, the restriction shook and rumbled. The round-shaped structure gradually became clear. Everyone knew that the restriction had been broken. All cultivators charged inside, and Emo squeezed into the crowd too. Emo saw that this was a huge spirit marrow pond. They didn't even have to go into the pond to feel the surrounding spirit chi be so dense that it made people want to moan in comfort. This pond could fit even 300 people, much less 30. There were even crystals around the rim of the pond. A Foundation Establishment State saw this and couldn't help but charge over. But as soon as he got there, a white light flashed, and that Foundation Establishment State cultivator immediately fell to the ground, while his head flew away. One Golden Core State cultivator took back his flying sword and said, "Foundation Establishment State gets no spirit crystals. Golden Core State gets them based on their level. Level 1 gets 1, level 2 gets 2. This Golden Core State cultivator was a Golden Core State level 9 expert, so no one dared to object to him. Okay, now all of you go cultivate first. But Foundation Establishment State cultivators leave after a day or deal with the consequences," the Golden Core Level 7 cultivator warned coldly. Emo knew that it would be impossible to steal any spirit crystals with his power, so he just sat down in the spirit marrow pond like the other Foundation Establishment State levels. Emo didn't use the 3 birth chant, because he knew that it would cause too much commotion and consume too much of the spirit marrow. He just used an ordinary cultivation method and slowly consumed the spirit marrow. Emo saw that all the other cultivators started to begin cultivation, and he started scheming for the pond. He wanted to send it into his golden page world and then find a safe place to cultivate later. Emo sat in the spirit marrow pond and slowly started pouring the spirit marrow inside his golden page world. He was very slow to avoid being caught. 2 hours later, Emo found that the spirit marrow had formed a small pond in his golden page world and rejoiced. This would be much better than cultivating there for a mere day. Cultivators soon started to spontaneously break through in the spirit marrow pond. 3 Golden Core State cultivators ascended a small level, and 4 Foundation Establishment States ascended a whole level. 1 Golden Core State cultivator went from level 6 to level 7. It was only half a day, yet this many people broke through. The spirit marrow was too good for cultivators. This incited people to consume the spirit marrow like crazy. Emo opened up his eyes casually and saw that almost everyone was cultivating in the pond and no one cared about him. Since that was the case, Emo started to take in the spirit well a bit faster. Half a day later, Emo suddenly realized that he had taken more than half of the spirit marrow pond. He was shook and immediately stopped. Emo felt he had been a little too greedy. He could only hope that the people present were too focused on cultivating to notice him. But obviously that wasn't going to happen. The Golden Core State peak stage cultivator realized what had happened and got up from the spirit pond roaring, "Who is it? Get up now." No one but Emo knew what he meant. At this moment, everyone in the spirit pond stopped cultivating. That's when they realized that more than half of the spirit marrow was missing. Emo was preparing to run away, But at this time, other golden core states walked inside the ancient structure. The leading golden core state saw the scene and couldn't help but exclaim, "A spirit marrow pond? It really is." He charged inside without hesitation. As the golden core state peak stage cultivator saw this, his face sunk. Just when Emo hoped that guy would reproach the newcomers so that he could find an opportunity to escape, he realized that the golden core state peak stage had no intentions of doing so. As he saw the golden core state peak stage cultivator scan everyone in the pond, Emo got an idea. He got up and said shakily, "For Qianbei, the spirit marrow pond's shares have been decided on by the Qianbei deeper inside. Since you guys came later, shouldn't you ask that Qianbei dash? What? A mere foundation establishment state cultivator like you dares stop me?" The golden core state cultivator's eyes went cold. However, he didn't attack. He didn't know if Emo had company. There were 20 golden core state cultivators there after all. No, I wouldn't dare stop Qianbei. I'm just saying. Emo carefully looked at the golden core state cultivators inside the pond, clearly hoping that one of them would speak for him. However, no one was willing to do so. The golden core state who had just arrived saw that Emo had no support and said coldly, "Piss off. I will take your spot." Yes. Emo quickly moved to the side. He was instigating a conflict on purpose. If that golden core state peak stage still did nothing, then it was his bad luck. Everyone could tell Emo was sucking up to the golden core state peak stage to try to stay longer, but they all just looked at Emo contemptuously. As soon as Emo moved away, the golden core state peak stage set aside the missing spirit marrow issue and said coldly to the 4 new arrivers, "Friends, we found the spirit marrow pond and arduously broke the restriction ourselves. Are you just going to take it?" There were 2 golden core state tertiary stages and 2 middle stages, and when they heard this, they all stood up together. The golden core state peak stage saw that no one wanted to help him and felt very uncomfortable. He glanced at the foundation establishment state cultivators inside the pond and said, "The foundation establishment states will stop now. Get out." Emo saw a scared-looking foundation establishment state run outside and followed immediately. Seeing this, the remaining foundation establishment state cultivators didn't dare talk and all went out. But they didn't leave. Emo stayed in the crowd and didn't leave either. He knew he couldn't leave now. The golden core state peak stage saw that all the foundation establishment states went out but none left, so he felt easy. To him, the most important thing was the missing spirit marrow, not the newcomers. However, since the 4 newcomers weren't saying anything, they clearly did want to take the spirit marrow. So he decided to deal with them first before looking for the missing spirit marrow. "If no one here has anything to do with the missing spirit marrow, I invite you to come to my side." The golden core state peak stage saluted with his fists as he spoke up. Hearing this, the remaining golden core state cultivators all got up and stood by his side, facing off against the 4 newcomers. Ash foresaw that they had to face more than 10 golden core states. They were dumbfounded. The strongest one of them quickly saluted with his fists. "We can talk this trough. We're willing to just stay for 3 days and leave." However, he was thinking that 3 days later, he would spread the news out no matter what and get everyone who was close to come. The golden core state peak stage nodded and didn't say anything further. He was still wondering how someone could take away so much spirit marrow in such a short time. This person must have a powerful magic artifact. It might even be a cultivation level artifact. "We don't know who took the spirit marrow, but I'm sure he's amongst us," the golden core state said coldly. He believed it had to have been a golden core state cultivator who did it. "But how do we find out who took it?" another golden core state tertiary stage asked. Clearly, no one would admit or let people check their storage ring. The golden core state peak stage sneered. "Simple, I have a level 8 test spirit rune. It's no use to me, so I will use it now. Those who are willing to be tested by the rune, please stand out. At the same time, however, the extra 2 crystals need to be given to me. After all, a level 8 rune is still worth a fortune." No one spoke as everyone tacitly agreed. In reality, it might be a level 8 rune, yes, but its use was actually very limited. It could only test cultivators below the nascent soul state. And even then, the accuracy wasn't 100%. The rune wasn't even worth 1 crystal. I'll start with the Foundation Establishment State Cultivators. The Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator suddenly stated. He suddenly stopped because he realized that there seemed to be one person missing from the Foundation Establishment State group. It was that timid-looking fellow who tried to suck up. He had been tricked. The Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator immediately understood what had happened. A mere Foundation Establishment State Level 7 insect had dared to trick him? His face turned green immediately. EMO left the round structure carefully while the Golden Core State Peak Stage was talking to the 4 Golden Core States. His 3-birth chant was put to good use again. No one realized he left. Still, the main reason for that was that everyone's attention was focused on the Spirit Marrow Pond. EMO immediately flew away a few kilometers and came to a barren mountain. Then he used earth travel to go underground. Immediately, he went into the Golden Page world. When he saw the large pond of spirit marrow in front of him, he was overjoyed. He was rich, really rich this time. EMO immediately charged into the spirit marrow pond and started cultivating wholeheartedly. The spirit energy didn't even need to be converted as it became his cultivation essence and his meridians opened up effortlessly. EMO knew his risk had paid off. Even though his power was ascending rapidly, EMO didn't stop to control its stability. His weak power just made him feel too uncomfortable. He even ate a clear essence pill and a Lin blue fruit. With this, the 3-birth chant showed its true power. EMO could clearly feel his power rise drastically. Half a day later, EMO felt the depth of his meridians hurt and then crack. His cultivation essence immediately became denser, and the strong feeling that ensued made EMO knew that he had reached Foundation Establishment State Level 8. EMO then immediately ate another clear essence pill and stayed inside. EMO entered a state of deep cultivation, forgetting everything but cultivation. When the last meridians were opened and all the meridians in his body connected, EMO felt himself become lighter. He couldn't help but get up and howl. He knew he had reached Foundation Establishment State Level 9. But EMO still stayed inside to keep cultivating. Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage. EMO still didn't stop. EMO knew that he could go for Golden Core State now, but he still wanted to first consolidate his power. EMO knew that his power had risen too quickly recently. So before he consolidated his cultivation, he couldn't attempt to break through to the Golden Core State. Meanwhile, EMO ate a few stalagmite benefit pills. He had eaten too many pills lately, and so he needed to remedy the pill poison in his body before he charged for the Golden Core State as well. As all the poison was removed, his Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage power was consolidated. EMO thought about many things. He had only transmigrated for a bit over 10 years, yet he was about to reach the Golden Core State. At this moment, he thought about Luoying, Qingxue, Shaoyun, Yimo, Yangzhu, Yiling, and even Yi Zifeng and Luoyu City. These thoughts flashed across his head and further consolidated his will to reach the peak as soon as possible and find them all. It was due to this thought that he stopped his impulse to break through to the Golden Core State. If he tried that now, he might not succeed, which wouldn't be good for his future. EMO decided to use the remaining 2.5 months in the valley to battle and stabilize his power. Once he was fully used to the Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage power, then he could attempt to reach the Golden Core State. EMO knew that with 1 or 2 years of consolidation, his foundation would be very solid, but he didn't have that much time. Another important point was that the Golden Page world wasn't very complete as of yet. He could break through to the Golden Core State, but it was better to do it outside in the complete world. EMO came out of the Golden Page world and went to the ground level. He took out 9 transformations and put it on his face. He was sure that Tong Dark Face and Sima White Face wouldn't be inside the valley, so he didn't have to worry. EMO had to wear it in case he saw that Golden Core State Peak Stage again. EMO looked around. He wanted to know what had happened to that spirit marrow pond. He knew that he couldn't get any spirit crystals even if he went back, but he still desired them greatly. EMO was at the Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage now and more than twice as strong as he was before. Perhaps if he faced that Golden Core State Level 4 guy again, he wouldn't have to rely on the Blue Python to escape. EMO was sure that he could fight against someone at the Golden Core State levels 1 to level 3 as long as they weren't some geniuses. EMO was much more careful this time heading back. However, EMO was clearly worrying too much. When he arrived, the place was a mess. There were multiple bodies laying around. As for the pond, there wasn't even any jade left, much less spirit marrow and spirit crystal. An intense battle had clearly taken place there. EMO didn't stay and left as quickly as he could. By now, EMO realized that this desert plain herb valley was surrounded by the desert and the precious herbs were all near the center. However, EMO didn't walk towards the center and walked towards the desert instead. He needed battle, and there were plenty of scorpion beasts in the desert. It was the best battleground. As soon as EMO came to the desert, he was surrounded by multiple level 3 earth scorpions. This was no challenge to EMO at all anymore. Zisu flashed, and these Foundation Establishment State primary stage equivalent beasts were taken care of in a flash. At the start, EMO had to swing Zisu to kill, but after a while, he found that his sword ray seemed to have a little intelligence. EMO hence immersed himself in his Zisu sword ray. He had a feeling that once he completely controlled the intelligence of his sword ray, his illusion cloud sword would develop its fourth strike. Amidst the endless slaughter, EMO didn't realize he had been surrounded by more than thousands of earth scorpions. He was killing them purely based on instinct. He killed wave after wave. If someone stood in the air right now, they would see endless earth scorpions flooding towards one person. But that wave of monsters was stopped by some power in the center, unable to flood the person in the middle. In the end, EMO closed his eyes completely and just controlled his sword rays based on his sense for danger. The intelligence in the sword rays grew. He kept on attacking with sword rays to unearth that intelligence. Each time a scorpion attacked, it would be blocked by his sword rays and then create a mist of blood. But even then, there were too many scorpions, and some made it through and injured him. But the attacks that got through were the weakest. EMO sensed the dangerous attacks, and a sword ray would block them immediately. In the end, a sword ray barrier formed around his body. Every time his cultivation essence was about to run dry, he would eat multiple essence recovery pills and spirit containment pills. He had prepared countless pills for the Herb Valley battles. As for pill poison, he didn't have to worry about that. Before this, his illusion cloud division strike could separate into countless sword rays already, but he couldn't control them. Now, as he slaughtered the scorpions, he gradually found that sliver of intelligence. He wasn't going to stop now out of fear that he wouldn't feel that intelligence again if he did. A few cultivators flew over the desert on their flying swords, and there was even one golden core state among them. When they saw an endless wave of earth scorpions rush towards one cultivator, however, they were shook and left as quickly as possible. Even golden core states would be dead for sure if they were surrounded by countless level 3 earth scorpions. Moreover, there were level 4 scorpions approaching from the periphery too. EMO could feel the scorpion threat get stronger and stronger, but he still didn't open his eyes. Zisu kept sending out sword rays, and he could feel that he could control more and more of them. Clink, Zisu suddenly shook, and the sword ray EMO had been controlling suddenly scattered, becoming a mess. The next moment, EMO felt pain on his chest, and an extreme sense of danger overcame him. That danger even invoked the fear of being killed in EMO. He subconsciously gathered all of the sword rays together and attacked the direction from where the dangerous feeling came. At the same time, he opened his eyes. EMO had never expected that in a rush, he would actually manage to control most of his sword rays together. Before he could rejoice, his sword rays clashed with something, and EMO was sent flying. A level 3 beast was smashed away too. EMO once again felt that extreme pain as he spat some blood and gathered all the cultivation essence in his body to protect him. At this moment, EMO finally took a close look at his surroundings, and he was shook. A 100-meter area around him was full of earth scorpion bodies, and there were countless more earth scorpions coming from a few miles away. The bodies were piled up to form a small hill already, and there were even some level 4 bodies among them. EMO examined his state. He was covered in blood and wounds, and there was a gash on his chest that was deep to the bone. Clearly, that was the result of the danger he had sensed. EMO immediately noticed the huge earth scorpion in front of him. It was much bigger than other earth scorpions. It glared at him with cold eyes. This was a level 5 Earth Scorpion, a level 5 middle stage Earth Scorpion. Emo suddenly became excited. He had survived under the furious attack of a level 5 Earth Scorpion. This level 5 middle stage beast was equivalent to a golden core state middle stage human cultivator. Emo didn't know how much time he had spent in this carnage, but he knew that his power had increased a level again. Emo suddenly remembered that last strike of his where the sword rays had become intelligent. That strike had blocked the level 5 beast's lethal blow. If it hadn't, Emo subconsciously raised Zisu, and the blade quivered as a sword ray rolled around it according to his will. It seemed like it was intelligent, and it only finally disappeared after a long while. After finally mastering this move, Emo was shaking with excitement. The reason the sword ray disappeared was because he didn't have enough cultivation essence. One day when he was strong enough, he would be able to control countless sword rays according to his will. Was this controlling the sword with one's will? Sword will? Emo didn't know sword will, but this sword ability of his was something he had created himself based on another sword ability. Emo realized that he had finally created the Illusion Cloud's fourth strike. "I'll call it the Illusion Cloud Exert will strike," Emo proclaimed as he clenched Zisu. His battle will sword, and he prepared to face the level 5 beast. All he wanted now was to fight the level 5 beast in front of him. He ignored the fact that he was full of injuries and surrounded by countless Earth Scorpions. The Earth Scorpion saw Emo casually shake out a few sword rays and looked concerned. It was level 5 and had some level of intelligence. Could tell that Emo was full of battle will. When Emo's battle will climaxed, the level 5 beast shrieked, and hearing this, the endless scorpion flood left. Emo looked at the ground full of bodies in a daze and felt uncomfortable. It was like he had been ready and prepared, yet his opponent suddenly ran away. But soon Emo calmed himself. Even if he needed opponents, it didn't have to be Earth Scorpions. Emo checked his storage ring, and he found that he had used up almost all of his recovery pills. He had prepared them for a long time. He estimated that he had spent about half a month fighting the beasts, so now he could go collect herbs. He ate a few stalagmite benefit pills and a few antidote pills to force out the poison from the scorpion stingers. Then, he took off 9 transformations and started digging out the scorpion stingers and beast cores. Emo believed that if he met that golden core state peak stage cultivator now, he should be able to run away from him. It was best not to use 9 transformations. There were too many bodies on the ground, so Emo just harvested the level 4 ones. 2 hours later, Emo got up and was planning to leave. He had gotten about a few hundred level 4 Earth Scorpion beast cores and stingers. This was a fortune to him. But just when Emo got up, he heard the sound of flying swords slicing through the air. Usually, cultivators could adapt the angle or use some other means to mute the flying noise, yet there was this sound now. Clearly, someone was running away at full speed. Emo soon indeed saw 3 cultivators rushing over. One was running away at the front, while 2 were chasing from behind. The one running away was a female cultivator. Emo scanned her with his spirit sense and recognized who she was. She was Guangwei, a core sect member of the Immortal Herb Valley and a top 20 ranker of the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. She was at the Golden Core State level 1. She had even ridiculed him a little for entering the valley with his current power. At this moment, her hair was covering her face, and her clothes were torn. Her snow-white skin was covered in blood. Someone dared kill a core sect member of the Immortal Herb Valley here? Emo knew that the sect had quite a high status in the North Far State, so even if someone were to attack their sect member, they wouldn't dare to do it so overtly. Guangwei clearly saw the cultivator amongst the bodies and charged over to Emo in joy. "Dao friend, I'm Immortal Herb Valley's Guangwei. I'm Dash." But when she reached Emo, she stopped talking. Her face looked bad as she had recognized Emo, the level 7 Foundation Establishment State cultivator. She didn't know why Emo was there, but Emo was heavily injured too. Even if he weren't, he wouldn't be able to save her life. But Guangwei knew getting on her flying sword again was no option either, as her 2 pursuers had sealed off her escape. "What are you doing here?" Guangwei was very annoyed. If Emo wasn't there, she wouldn't have come down to ask for help. She could have kept running. In actuality, she did know that she was being unreasonable, though. She would have been caught eventually anyways. Why can't I be doing something here? EMO asked calmly while studying the two cultivators in pursuit. It was one golden core state level 4 cultivator and one at level 3. Guangwei could indeed only run from them. Guangwei calmed down and said apologetically, "They're not from the North Far State. I have brought trouble onto you." Guangwei sighed. Not from the North Far State? No wonder they dared to hunt down an Immortal Herb Valley disciple then. Foundation Establishment State Wanbei? Ha ha ha. The Golden Core State Level 3 saw that EMO only had Foundation Establishment State power and immediately laughed. Guangwei's face went red. She threw over a dark yellow herb and said, "It's yours. This has nothing to do with him." The Golden Core State Level 4 took the herb and looked contemptuously at EMO. Speaking coldly, "You want me to let this insect go? It isn't impossible. If you give me your virginity, that is." Guangwei's face went red, and she was about to fight immediately, but EMO's following words stopped her impulse. "Yellow 3-leaf?" EMO became excited, staring at the herb. The Neen Bai pill's main ingredient was the yellow 3-leaf, and the Neen Bai pill was the most important pill for Golden Core State cultivators. "I'll take this yellow 3-leaf." EMO looked coldly at the level 4 Golden Core State and spoke up solemnly. When EMO said this, the two Golden Core States as well as Guangwei were dazed. 2 breaths later, the two Golden Core States laughed out loud. If Guangwei weren't in danger, she would want to laugh too. A mere Foundation Establishment State dared to say to a Golden Core State middle stage that he would take what was in his hands. "I wanted to kill you later, but I see you're asking to die now. Insect, I want to see how you're going to take this yellow 3-leaf." The Golden Core State Level 4 uttered as his flying sword quickly surrounded EMO with sword light. He wanted to cut EMO's limbs off and let EMO watch as he dual cultivated with this female cultivator before killing him. Guangwei saw this and took out her flying sword, wanting to stop it, but the Golden Core State Level 3 stopped Guangwei. What the Golden Core State middle stage fellow didn't expect was that as soon as his flying sword was about to attack, the Foundation Establishment State insect took out his kitchen chopping knife and chopped over at him. He was furious. A Foundation Establishment State cultivator dared to attack him? He wanted to use his cultivation essence field to bind the insect, but what shook him then was that his cultivation essence was bound first. This was the second time EMO used the illusion cloud essence binding strike against a Golden Core State. The first time it didn't even stop the person for half a breath. Now, he was inestimably closer to the Golden Core State, so he was really curious to see how strong it was now. The purple sword ray instantly bound the Golden Core State fellow. But soon, EMO felt that it would still only last for 2 breaths. Hence, he used the illusion cloud division strike immediately. Instantly, countless purple sword rays were struck out. By the time the Golden Core State broke free, EMO had about a few hundred sword rays ready for him. The Golden Core State sweated cold from this and conjured a blue shield. Crack, countless strikes struck the shield. The shield blocked 90% of the sword rays, but some still got through and went into the Golden Core State's body, injuring him. The Golden Core State middle stage cultivator was immediately furious. Due to his underestimation, he had gotten injured by a Foundation Establishment State insect. Now he didn't hold back anymore. He raised his 2 hands, and 4 different colored swords were sent out. They formed the word Wang and completely covered EMO. Guangwei was stopped by the Golden Core State Level 3, but when she saw that EMO was capable of injuring the Golden Core State Level 4 cultivator, she was shook. She really couldn't imagine how a Foundation Establishment State Level 7 could injure a Golden Core State cultivator. Having crossed the bridge between the Foundation Establishment State and the Golden Core State, she knew how big of a difference it was. Usually, the first-placed Foundation Establishment Hall of Fame ranker was no match for an ordinary Golden Core State Level 1 cultivator. Yet, EMO had injured a Golden Core State middle stage opponent with Foundation Establishment State power. This exceeded her comprehension. But when she saw the Wang attack, she began to worry. She knew how powerful it was. Martial brother Chuanwu of the God Sword sect had lost to this move. It was this cultivator's killing blow. This Li Chuanwu was at Golden Core State level 4 and came from the God Sword sect, so he was much stronger than ordinary Golden Core States, yet even he was no match for this move. Meanwhile, Yi Mo was only at the Foundation Establishment state. She didn't dare to think further than that. And as soon as the move was used, Yi Mo indeed felt an extreme sense of danger. The 4 swords had different colored sword rays, and when the Golden Core State activated them, it was like a vibrant fireworks display. But Yi Mo felt that the sword rays could follow him everywhere. If he wasn't careful, the move would tear him apart. Perhaps 1 or 2 would only injure him, but when all the swords joined together, he would be torn apart for sure. It was like his 3-birth sword ray. Yi Mo didn't dare to hesitate and closed his eyes. Zisu rumbled, and countless purple sword rays appeared like a flower festival. These sword rays seemed to have eyes of their own as they followed the vibrant sword light. Guangwei and the Golden Core State level 3 cultivator were dumbfounded. Yi Mo was stopping the full-powered attack of a Golden Core State level 4 as a Foundation Establishment State cultivator. They even forgot to fight and just stared at Yi Mo's fight. Meanwhile, the Golden Core State level 4 cultivator was the most shocked. He could feel that Yi Mo wouldn't last long, but he still couldn't help feeling shocked. He had found the Wang for swords in an ancient ruin and had beaten countless people with this sword ability, yet it was stopped by a small Foundation Establishment State cultivator. If he hadn't used this full-strength attack due to his rage, he would be the one on the lower hand of this battle by now. He didn't know who this Foundation Establishment State cultivator was, but his sword ray seemed to be alive, as if it would block every single one of his sword rays. If it wasn't that this Foundation Establishment State cultivator's cultivation essence was far weaker than his Wang for swords wouldn't be able to suppress him. He had never seen a Foundation Establishment State cultivator this strong, nor had he heard of one. Compared to him, the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame No. 1 was nothing. Yi Mo's power rendered him full of killing intent. He had to kill such an overpowered cultivator before he was strong, or there would be endless trouble for him in the future. Thinking about this, the Golden Core State added more cultivation essence to his attack, and the sword rays shone even brighter. Yi Mo was already struggling to block the move, and now he finally couldn't help spitting 2 mouthfuls of blood. He sighed. It would seem he was being a bit too cocky still. He thought he could take on Golden Core State middle stage cultivators, having reached the Foundation Establishment State peak stage and having created the illusion cloud exert will strike. But now, it seemed there was still a huge difference. When Yi Mo saw the Golden Core State was about to take something out, he got even more desperate. He wanted to take out a few attack runes too. But he couldn't. Seeing Guangwei watch on the side, Yi Mo was furious. He cursed, "Dumb girl. Hurry up and kill the other dude and come help me." Guangwei was dazed. She didn't expect that Yi Mo would dare to insult her. If she could kill this Golden Core State level 3, she would have long since killed him, right? But she saw that Yi Mo was about to lose and knew that that was their only way out. If she didn't kill the Golden Core State level 3 cultivator, she would be dying along with Yi Mo. Thinking about this, Guangwei sent her flying sword out and attacked the Golden Core State level 3. He was stronger than Guangwei by a little, and the two fought a close battle. This time, Guangwei was very desperate. She temporarily held the upper hand. After all, Golden Core State level 1 and 3 was both the same primary stage. Once Guangwei exerted her cultivation essence, though, she would be defeated for sure. Thus, the Golden Core State level 3 just patiently held Guangwei in place. Guangwei sighed. She wasn't dumb, and she could tell there was no other way anymore. She attacked with her full might and didn't even bother with defense. The Golden Core State level 3 had a sneer of contempt on his face, and he knew his opportunity was near. This woman wasn't as good as the one who had been with her, but she was still pretty. She would make for some good fun in this place. Guangwei saw the Golden Core State keep staring at her body and couldn't help but get angrier. She made up her mind that even if she was to die, she wouldn't let the two jerks do what they wanted. When Guangwei sent her flying sword piercing at the Golden Core State's eyes like crazy, the Golden Core State suddenly seemed dazed. His eyes were then filled with disbelief, as he hadn't noticed Guang Wei's flying sword pierce his eyes at all. Guang Wei was also stunned. She didn't expect to actually succeed right when she was about to give up. Her golden core state level 3 opponent hadn't dodged at all and let her pierce him. Guang Wei was dazed for a moment, but quickly realized that this was a good opportunity. No matter what, she couldn't let this guy live. Immediately, her flying sword sliced off the man's head. Guang Wei was overcome with disbelief at being able to kill the man. As soon as the man fell down, Emo spat more blood, and his purple sword ray became Messier. The next moment, a few sword rays pierced his shoulders. Emo ate a few more recovery pills. He knew he had succeeded halfway. The golden core state level 4 attacker in front of him was too strong. Even if he took out Shadowless, it would be of no use. He needed Guang Wei's help. So he used Shadowless to help Guang Wei kill the other guy. However, he got injured more due to splitting his spirit sense. Guang Wei was surprised. But when she saw what happened to Emo, without thinking, she charged at the golden core state level 4 with her flying sword. At this moment, the golden core state took out a paper rune. Clearly, he was unhappy with having to fight Emo for so long. It was already embarrassing that he had to use his killing blow to suppress Emo and then runes to kill him, but he didn't care about what it would cost him at all anymore. He would only rest easy after this foundation establishment state died. But when he took out the rune, he saw Guang Wei kill his friend. Before he could check how that was possible, Guang Wei was already attacking him. Without a thought, he threw the rune at Guang Wei, even though he had been planning on using it against Emo. He grew more careful once again, though. Did she too have some unknown means that she hadn't used before yet? Otherwise, how could she kill a cultivator 2 levels higher than her so quickly? The rune exploded in front of Guang Wei, and Guang Wei could only put up a cultivation essence barrier. But even with that, she was immediately burned by the rune. Her hair turned into a crisp, and she didn't have a single bit of clothes left on her. Meanwhile, Emo used this chance to take out his own runes. They were his battle loot, but he threw them at the cultivator without hesitating. At the same time, he told Guang Wei to hurry up and attack. Rumble rumble, the runes Emo threw out were fireball runes, huge boulder runes, and ice shard runes. They were all level 4 and 5, so they were weak against golden core state cultivators, but their quantity could make up for that. While the golden core state was busy with that, Emo controlled Shadowless to move below the golden core state. Guang Wei really wanted to change into a new pair of clothes, but she knew that this was a crucial moment and that she couldn't waste a single second. So Guang Wei chose the right moment and sent out her flying sword. With Guang Wei joining him, the pressure on Emo was reduced greatly. Zisu's sword ray instantly broke through the sword ray lockdown, and the golden core state was cut many times over. Emo then sent out a few hundred more sword rays, and the illusion cloud whirlpool strike. All he had needed was an opportunity, and with Guang Wei there, he got it. The golden core state had thought that the purple sword ray was Yemo's strongest move, so when he saw the spinning whirlpool sword rays, he was shocked once again. What sword ability was this? He knew he had to run. If those two joined forces, he would be a dead man for sure. Just when he had such a thought, he felt a little pain in his meridians, as though something had crawled in. Before he could check it, the Foundation Establishment State Cultivator's sword rays covered the heavens and earth as they charged straight at him. This golden core state cultivator was different from other cultivators. The first thing he did was to force out Shadowless. However, he underestimated Yemo's illusion cloud whirlpool strike. He thought his Foundation Establishment State opponent was already very strong, but no matter what, since he could suppress him for so long, he would be able to do so for a bit longer. But as soon as he forced out Shadowless, he was sliced up by the countless purple sword rays. Despair filled the cultivator's eyes. He was killed by a Foundation Establishment State insect. Guang Wei looked in a daze at the sky filled with sword rays that sliced a golden core state level 4 to pieces. She forgot that the first thing she should be doing right now was changing clothes. She immediately realized that the golden core state level 4 cultivator had also seemed distracted before he was killed. "Did you help me kill that golden core state too?" Guang Wei reacted and asked. Emo scanned her and said plainly, "I think what you should care about now is changing into some clothes. Then Emo took the level 4's ring and sat down, starting to recover. Guangwei just realized that she didn't have any clothes on. She was very embarrassed. Just when she wanted to tell Emo not to look, he had already turned his back to her. Without thinking, Guangwei casted a simple barrier and went inside it, washing herself with a water spell before changing into a set of clothes. When Guangwei came out, Emo was already standing up. He was covered in blood, and Guangwei couldn't see the state of his injuries. "I will be going, goodbye." Emo turned to leave. He had been fighting all these days and felt that it was time for him to form his core. He didn't want to be with Guangwei while doing that. "Ha!" Guangwei reacted and immediately remembered why she was being hunted. She said desperately, "Emo, please save my martial sister Mushin now. She's trapped by cultivators from the South Peace State." Emo studied Guangwei in surprise and said after a long while, "You want a Foundation Establishment State cultivator to beat the Golden Core State cultivators trapping your martial sister and save her from them?" Guangwei said desperately, "Emo, you can do it for sure. You're capable of killing that Luo guy. Your power is no weaker than Golden Core State. With me, we should be able to help. You must go help. Remember, before you came in, Mushin helped you dash." Emo smiled. "Helped me? Do you think I needed help?" In fact, Emo paused and studied Guangwei before saying slowly, "In fact, it's not a good idea for you to come in here. If I were you, I would stay at home to concoct some pills." Guangwei heard this and blushed. Actually, Emo didn't plan on not helping. After all, Qin Mushin did want to help him before. But after fighting with that Golden Core State level 4 cultivator, Emo again realized that his power was nothing in front of the might of a strong Golden Core State. Not to mention that after so long, who knew if she was dead or not? What if she was dead? He just wanted to find a place to recover and ascend to Golden Core State. Anything had to wait until after that. Guangwei saw that Emo was about to leave, and her face went pale. She suddenly thought of something and said, "My martial sister and I were hunted by them because we found a large patch of yellow 3 leaves. They must have something important to do, coming all the way here. Furthermore, we've already killed 2 of the 4 Golden Core State cultivators. If we meet up with Mushin and the others hearing about the yellow 3 leaves." Emo immediately turned around and said, "What are we waiting for then? Hurry up and go." Then he immediately got on his flying pike. He was about to reach the Golden Core State, but he didn't have any herbs for Golden Core State cultivation. If he wanted to reach higher states faster, then he needed large amounts of resources. He even dared to steal things from Hollow Spirit State cultivators, much less from 2 Golden Core State cultivators. Guangwei looked at Emo a bit stunned. She didn't expect Emo to agree just because of that. Wasn't this too straightforward? He just said he couldn't beat Golden Core States, and now he was getting ready to go as soon as he heard yellow 3 leaf. But Guangwei didn't dare to scorn him for fearing that he wouldn't go. When she saw Yemo's low-grade flying spirit artifact, she wasn't even shocked. It was normal for an overpowered cultivator like Emo to have a low-grade flying spirit artifact at the Foundation Establishment State. Guangwei picked up the Golden Core State Level 3's storage ring and gave it to Emo. "You killed him. You deserve it." Emo said plainly, "I killed the Level 4 and I took his ring. As for the Level 3, that's your loot. I won't take what's yours." Emo denied himself being involved at all. Guangwei knew that it had something to do with Emo, but Emo wasn't going to admit anything. "You control the flying pike. I need to recover," Emo said. His injuries looked serious, but Emo knew it was only a matter of cultivation essence exhaustion and some external injuries. For hours later, Emo had completely recovered. He didn't take over the flying pike but instead started looking at the Golden Core State Level 4 storage ring. There were more than 100,000 top-grade spirit stones inside and about the same amount of middle-grade spirit stones. There were also large amounts of Golden Core State cultivation pills and the 4 colored swords. Emo also found an incomplete jade slip inside. It had the Wang 4 swords. It was a very good sword ability, but Emo had illusion cloud, so he didn't look at it and left it to the side. Other than this, he also found a jade card that said, "Flowing Cloud Sword Sect, Luo Zixiang." It was probably his identity card. There were also tens of jade boxes that contained the herbs he had found. Emo took everything, took a shower, and changed his clothes before coming out. How long? Emo asked Guangwei, who seemed a little worried. Guangwei said, almost there. Emo also started inserting cultivation essence into the flying pike, and it cut through the air even faster. 30 minutes later, the flying pike landed outside a huge valley. Martial Sister Mushin, you're okay? Great. Where are those villains? Guangwei charged out immediately and ran up to Qin Mushin. She didn't expect that Qin Mushin would only have some blood on her and wouldn't even be heavily injured. Qin Mushin looked joyful when she saw Guangwei and quickly said, Martial Sister, I was very worried about you, but I didn't know which way you ran. It's so good to know you're fine. What's this? Guangwei guessed that something special must have happened. When she turned around, she saw the two golden core state cultivators who were attacking them when she ran. Her martial sister was fine, so why were the two still there? There seemed to be more people around them too. These martial brothers from the God Sword sect and Duo Heart Valley helped us, Qin Mushin said as she pointed at those golden core state cultivators and introduced them. This is God Sword sect's martial brother Shimin Chao. This is Duo Heart Valley's martial brother Zhikushiu. Guangwei quickly went up and thanked them. If it weren't for these people, the Immortal Herb Valley would have suffered greatly this time. Emo saw that Qin Mushin had a few people next to her and knew that she had been saved. However, when he put away the flying pike, he realized that the atmosphere didn't seem right. Qin Mushin's side and the other side seemed to be in a stalemate. Emo looked at the messy valley and knew there had been a battle not long before. The oppositing side of that battle must have been the cultivators from the South Peace State. Guangwei had guessed right. Those people had indeed come with a clear purpose in mind. The South Peace State's cultivation level was much higher than other places, much less the North Far States, which was at the bottom. It's you? Where are Martial Brother Luo and Martial Brother Xian? A Golden Core State Level 5 recognized Guangwei and yelled. He thought that a Golden Core State Level 4 and Level 3 should easily have been able to kill a Golden Core State Level 1, but now, this Level 1 came back fine while their two cultivators didn't come back. Guangwei sneered. What's your martial brother going missing got to do with me? Am I responsible for watching him? Guangwei's words made the cultivators from the North Far State laugh. Qin Mushin also noticed Emo and asked Guangwei in confusion. Martial sister? Why are you with him? Isn't it too? Bringing him here. Guangwei said to Emo. Martial brother Yi, come here. She said to Qin Mushin. I found Martial brother Yi to help you. But I didn't expect you would already have a few martial brothers helping you. Ha ha. One cultivator heard this and couldn't hold back his laughter. This cultivator was standing near Zhichoshue, who was from the Duo Heart Valley too. He said, You found a Foundation Establishment State cultivator to come help? Laughing at someone else? You're a Foundation Establishment State too. Guangwei replied coldly. She knew who this cultivator was. He was in the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame, but she didn't care. Qin Mushin felt Guangwei was being unreasonable, but the laugh had made her uncomfortable too. However, the Duo Heart Valley cultivators had just saved her, so she just glanced coldly at the cultivator who laughed. Hi Xian, don't be rude. Martial Sister Guangwei is your Qianbei. How can you be so rude? Zhichoshue immediately reproached. The cultivator stopped laughing and bowed to Guangwei and didn't speak again. Zhichoshue saluted with his fists to Guangwei and said, Those two Golden Core State cultivators weren't simple. Even I can't say I could beat one of them with certainty. Also, Hai Xian might be at the peak stage of the Foundation Establishment State as well as number 2 in the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame. He has no right to talk in front of a Golden Core State. Zhichoshue was still telling her in a polite roundabout way that it was quite blasphemous to find a Foundation Establishment State cultivator to help. But Guangwei didn't say anything. Even though this Hai Xian was the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame number 2, he would be instantly killed by Emo. Even if Zhichoshue fought Emo himself, who knew what might happen? Emo was the craziest prodigy she had ever seen. Hai Xian saw that Guangwei didn't rebuke, but the contempt in her eyes was clear. so he was unsatisfied. He walked up to Emo and said, "Having heard of your strength, I would like to see." "Don't worry, 3 moves is enough." Emo was already unhappy about being unable to see the yellow 3 leaves. And now this high Xian came up to challenge him. So what if he was a bit stronger? Was Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame number 2 really that great? Seeing Emo not planning on taking out his magic artifact, High Xian didn't plan to either. He just raised his hand and said, "I'll fight you with my fist, 3 moves. Don't worry, just 3 moves." Emo stared coldly at him. "Who is Hai Dan to you?" High Xian was dazed, but he said, "She's my younger sister. Why?" Hearing about his sister suddenly, his face looked bad. Why did Emo ask about his sister? Did his sister suffer in his hands? If that were the case, this wouldn't be a matter of 3 fists. Emo nodded and said, "Then hurry up. I don't have time to play with you." "Don't worry. Just 1 move." High Xian's face went red. Even the number 1 Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame Li Xiaohua didn't dare to be this cocky with him. High Xian didn't speak anymore. He gathered all his cultivation essence and punched at Emo with full force. He was going to teach Emo a lesson. He wanted to break a few of Emo's chest bones first. Seeing High Xian do that, Qin Mushin frowned, because a few months ago even she was no match for High Xian. Zhiqiushui sighed as he took out a recovery pill. It was for Emo for after he got injured, or else they would be offending Guangwei. But Qin Mushin and Zhiqiushui felt confused that Guangwei didn't seem to care at all. Emo felt the overpowering fist wind which locked down his surroundings. He knew that High Xian was out to heavily injure him. His eyes went cold as he punched out too. Everyone could see the essence of High Xian's punch. It bound the opponent's space and then forced them to take the fist. With High Xian's cultivation essence, ordinary Foundation Establishment State cultivators wouldn't be able to escape it at all. Yet Emo broke free and actually punched out normally. High Xian was completely shocked. He was attacking with full power, but Emo broke free from the binding so easily. The 2 fists clashed, and with a crack High Xian flew out. Zhiqiushui quickly caught High Xian and found that all the bones in his hand were broken. He quickly fed him a pill. Everyone looked at Emo in shock. Even an ordinary Golden Core State Level 1 wouldn't be able to punch High Xian away with just his fist. Emo patted his hand and said, "You're the same type of person as your sister indeed. But on account of Yuruyu, I'll only break 1 arm." High Xian clearly knew who Yuruyu was. He was the God Sword sect member who was about to marry his sister. After a long while, everyone realized what had happened. This Foundation Establishment State cultivator was too strong. He had sent the Foundation Establishment State Hall of Fame number 2 flying with 1 fist. And he had clearly not even been using his full power. No one would dare to believe it if they didn't see it with their own eyes. He was this strong? Qin Mushin muttered. Guangwei nodded. He's strong, but he's got a very low temperament. After this guy saved me, you know what the first thing he said was? He repeated to me what I told him back then, telling me to go back home and concoct pills. Wait, he saved you? Qin Mushin was even more shocked. Before Guangwei could reply, the Golden Core State cultivator who stopped Qin Mushin before spoke to Emo coldly. Do you have something to do with Martial Brother not coming back? Emo's power didn't seem to be weaker than a Golden Core State primary stage cultivator's, and he had come back with Guangwei after all. Emo glanced contemptuously at this Golden Core State fellow and didn't reply. He just wanted to ask Guangwei why he wasn't seeing any yellow 3 leaves. At this moment, a few more sword lights flew over. On both sides, a few more Golden Core State cultivators arrives. Okay, we have enough people, let's move. The South Peace Side's Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator said. Emo realized that there were about 20 people on each side. Just when Emo was about to ask Guangwei what was going on, he saw Guangwei and Qin Mushin go towards a beautiful woman in her 30s. There was a teenage girl next to her. Big martial sister. Guangwei and Qin Mushin called out in joy. Emo greeted the 4 cultivators from the Immortal Herb Valley and then asked Guangwei, "Do you know what's going on?" Guangwei shook her head in confusion. "I don't know. The big martial sister also looked at Emo in confusion. She hadn't gone to the pill concoction tournament, so she didn't know Emo. However, she could tell he was a Foundation establishment state cultivator and hadn't even called Guangwei with an honorable title. Yet Guangwei wasn't angry, and Guangwei wasn't so easy to talk to. Qin Muxin glanced at Emo once and said, "There's a big ruin in the herb valley, and it's said that there are countless spirit herbs inside, all of level 5 or above. There's even said to be the level 8 spirit herb soul return fruit. The soul return fruit was an overpowered spirit herb. It was said that when a cultivator died, as long as the body was preserved, one could use the soul return fruit to concoct the soul nourishing pill. It could gradually repair the soul of a dead cultivator." "Is it in the ruin?" Emo immediately asked. He was thinking about Nie Shuangshuang. Her body had been preserved, but her soul was missing. Perhaps it could wake her up. Qin Muxin shook her head. "No, it's in this valley. Somehow, the people from the South Peace State knew about this and found it." Martial brother Zhe and Shimin came after hearing this. Emo had understood. It seemed Qin Muxin and Guangwei had found the yellow 3-leaf there, but they had ran into the cultivators from the South Peace State, who had been looking for the ruin. Then, the two parties had fought over the yellow 3-leaf, but neither of them could beat the other. Even after the martial brother from the God Sword sect had arrived, he still couldn't beat that Luo cultivator. The situation finally stabilized after Shimin Chao and martial brother Zhe arrived. Now, both sides had about the same number of Golden Core State cultivators, about 40 people altogether. Both sides had 2 Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivators too. The Southerners had 3 Golden Core State Tertiary Stage Masters and the Northerners had 2. The rest were at Golden Core State Primary Stage and Middle Stage. Both sides started to go into the valley. Emo was aware that he was from the north, but no one knew him or greeted him. He was a solo cultivator. Guangwei saw this. She knew that although Emo had beaten High Xian, no one considered his Foundation establishment state power valuable, so she wanted to call Emo. However, Qin Muxin said, "Emo, thanks for saving martial sister Guangwei," but Emo said plainly, "But what? Are you trying to say that it's best if I don't go in? That even if I go in, it won't benefit me much?" Qin Muxin nodded awkwardly. "Yes, the portal also has limited spots. You're by yourself, so dash." Before Emo could reply, the big martial sister called them, "Hurry up, Guangwei Muxin." The two women smiled apologetically to Emo and went inside. Emo sneered. His power was low, but if he didn't fight for such a good opportunity, how could he pursue the Great Tao? Just like half a month ago, if he hadn't taken the risk of stealing the spirit marrow, could he have reached Foundation Establishment State Peak? There was no danger in sitting at home. However, would he ever reach Golden Core State, Nascent Soul State, or even Hollow Spirit State at home? Emo followed them without hesitation. This secret land inside the Herb Valley would be at least on the same level as the Spirit Marrow Pond. He would be an idiot if he didn't fight for it. Seeing Emo follow them inside, Qin Muxin sighed and didn't say anything. 15 minutes later, Emo followed the crowd and arrived at a big stage that seemed to be used for sacrifices and rituals. Everyone stopped moving. Emo was a formation master. Just by looking at this place, he could tell they were surrounded by a huge formation. However, the formation had been broken a long time ago. The South Peace State's Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator said on the huge stage, 50 years ago, our southern Qianbais found this place, but they didn't have enough people to cross the formation and enter the herb garden. Time was up, so they had to leave. There's 7 formations here. Each one must have at least 1 cultivator inserting cultivation essence to activate it. Emo heard this and looked around carefully. There were indeed 2 obscure teleportation formations on the stage. It was a 7-star formation he could recognize from what he had seen on Earth. However, each formation could only transport 3 people. Then, the Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator said, "Each formation can only be activated once and it can only transport 3 people. There are 7 formations, which means that only 21 people can go. I suggest that everyone fights over the formations on your own, but we can't fight together as 2 whole parties." We should deal with whatever problems we have after coming out. I agree, the Northern Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator said. He immediately chose a formation. I'll take this formation. Goba, Wanren Tion. Come to my side. Then, the Southern Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator took the second one without hesitation and called 2 people. They were both at Golden Core State Peak Stage. No one dared to fight with them. The Immortal Herb Valley's big martial sister said, Guangwei and Mushin, one of you come with me. Chi-Chi come. She didn't dare leave Chi-Chi outside. She was the weakest disciple of their sect there, and she was only at Foundation Establishment State. Guangwei said to Mushin, Martial Sister Mushin, your pill concoction skills are better than mine. You go in. I'll stay outside with Yemo. She believed that Yemo wouldn't be able to go in for sure. Qin Mushin wanted Guangwei to go in, but she felt it was going to be awkward if stayed outside with Yemo. Hence, she might as well let Martial Sister Guangwei stay outside. Then, another Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator and 2 Golden Core State Level 8s cultivators took a formation each, bringing people from their sect. After a short moment, there was only 1 formation left. Yemo saw the last formation. Without thinking much, he could tell that no matter who took it, he wouldn't get a share. Before anyone could come forward, he got on the stage quickly and said, This formation is mine. Everyone looked at Yemo in a daze. They couldn't tell whether Yemo was dumb or insolent. There were a few Golden Core State Level 7 cultivators left and a bunch of Golden Core State Middle Stage cultivators. A Foundation Establishment State insect dared to claim a formation. Xianxia actually didn't laugh at Yemo this time. He could just feel the pain of his broken hand. So he's an idiot. I was fighting with an idiot. Then he shook his head. Yemo's actions were so outrageous that no one had challenged him yet. The big martial sister of Immortal Herb Valley looked at Yemo in shock and asked Qin Mushin, Mushin? Who is this Foundation Establishment State cultivator? Do you and Guangwei know him? Why does he seem a little dumb? Qin Mushin looked down awkwardly, relieved that this idiot who was good at pill concoction hadn't become her husband. Yemo, get down immediately, Guangwei said desperately to Yemo. She knew Yemo was strong, but she was aware that Yemo could only fight with a Golden Core State Level 4 cultivator at most. How could he beat all the Golden Core State Middle Stage and Tertiary Stage Masters there? Yemo knew what they were thinking, but he sneered. The most powerful cultivator left was at Golden Core State Level 7. He was no match for that now, but he had the 3-birth chant. He could cultivate while doing other things. If a Golden Core State Level 7 cultivator came to him, he would take the cultivation increasing pill and the Lin Blue fruit. He could form his core and use the heavenly punishment to scare them. Piss off. How can a mere Foundation Establishment State insect dare to take a formation? The southern cultivator who had doubted Yemo appeared again. He knew he wasn't going to be able to get one with his level 5 power, but he wanted to kill Yemo first.